D?
Yeah, man. Well, turn it up, man.
Let's just go in and, like, kill all the orcs, right? They're the bad guys. Who gives a shit? We just hack and slash and we loot their dead bodies, right? Hack and slash, kill them all, you know, conquer the infidels.
Boy, that campaign sounds like a barrel of fun, doesn't it?
Somebody who's opening a refrigerator and leaning in, right, is the language of a woman. Somebody who's opening their refrigerator and being cut off halfway through that lean is the voice of like a mermaid or a siren. Right?
This is not the face of the hobby anymore. And I think there's been mistakes made in years past where people assumed that D&D players were all, you know, white dudes in a basement. Which has been a faulty assumption for a lot of years and gets more and more false every day. And so it's, in my viewpoint, honestly, guys like me can't leave soon enough.
I just had to be born with empathy and a weakness for socialism and femboys.
You gotta put a little hot sauce on the taco, you know what I mean?
We want this dwarf to be the dwarfiest dwarf.
Right.
We want the elf to be the elfiest elf.
And just the dashiest dash of Tabasco.
Their voices need to carry across water.
I'm a creative. It's a huge drain, right? Because fans can be awful.
When we got the descriptions, they were very adamant. They were like, try not to make it like a white blonde guy. Like, please, like, we love him, but there's like 500 million of them.
The diversity that the characters need to have needs to reflect the gaming world now. The mix of people that are playing these games, you know, it's not, 13-year-old white boys held up in their basement. It's a very diverse crowd,
You say white lives matter, they don't. White lives don't matter because white lives aren't a thing.
What's this?
What's this? It's the jacket.
The jacket.
Lutherville, Marina Del X, Otisburg. Who's this monster? She's got her own place. Otisburg. It's a little bitty place. Otisburg. Okay, I just wipe it off. That's all. It's a little town. Yep.
Okay. We'll do it live. Okay. No. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
5, 4, 3. Great, Sam.
We dumping chump. It's a landslide, sir.
On guard.
Have a look at the headlock here. See that chap over there? Get your hand off my penis!
Double zeros, baby!
Double zeros, baby!
That does not get old.
Never does.
You got to cut that clapping off earlier.
It's only 10
we
seconds.
like the accolades.
10 seconds, maybe about 5 too long.
More.
We got the beginning of our intro. I might be an unpopular opinion. I think it needs redone. It's looking like a memoriam at the beginning of the Oscars. Like, realistically, how many of those people have passed away? I'm counting 3 for sure. James Gandolfini, the penis dude, and now Gene Hackman.
Oh, man, yeah.
Like, is there more?
Margot Kidder, Gene Hackman, and Ned Beatty are all dead.
Ned Beatty is in that. All right, we got Double D. It's on you now. We got to change some stuff up.
I got some homework to do. All right.
No, it just hit me. I always liked Ned Beatty an awful lot, and Gene Hackman's always been a solid actor.
I agree with that.
I was trying to do like Sherlock Holmes and try to figure out, like, I've been watching, I stumbled on the Sherlock Holmes channel. I'm a huge fan of the Granada series in the 80s with like Jeremy Brett. So it's been going to my head. So I'm listening to all these details about Gene Hackman's death, and I'm trying to figure it out like Sherlock Holmes style.
Is there foul play?
I don't know if it's foul play, but I think it's a mystery.
People thought at first maybe carbon monoxide, but they ruled that out, didn't they?
That would be easily, you'd be able to easily see that in a toxicology. That stuff doesn't leave your body. I'm guessing like one of the dogs was dead. So to me, that speaks of like a very rash decision.
Murder, suicide?
I wouldn't think so. Maybe just death and then suicide.
Right.
Hungar. Bam. One of the few that has not changed his name. First super chat of the
Hungar
day.
is still Hungar.
Yeah, that's right. He'll always be Hungar. Thank you very much, buddy. Yeah, I don't know. It's sad. I mean, I'd seen pictures of Gene Hackman for a little while, and he was, he obviously seemed ancient. Look, my mom was 88 when she passed, and the difference between 86 and 88 was just night and day. I was like, whoa. Nope, I got something for you.
Your name is Toby.
Mercurius, a.k.a. my ear trumpet has been struck by lightning. Second super chat.
Damn.
Thank you, buddy.
Jeff from Dencard, number 3.
$5 Canadian. Howdy, y'all.
Good day, mate.
Good day. Working on my project while enjoying the show. Quick question. What medieval weapons does not get enough love from players, in your opinion? The Great Hammer. Everybody goes to the Great Sword. They go to the Great Axe. How about a giant honking hammer that can just smash brains?
I had a character that used the giant hammer. Grendel.
Yeah. And I love it.
Mrs. Double D had her character.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she
Ma
had more
used the
critical
hammer.
kills than any of us during that period of time.
Was hers a war hammer or a great hammer?
I thought it was a great hammer.
Yeah, it might have been a great hammer. Yeah,
it was
'cause her character was pretty beefy.
Yeah.
Chris Miller going Columbo on this shit.
Oh, geez. Locked in a closet.
Oh.
Boy, that takes... Let's figure this out, chat. That's either like carelessness or on purpose. It's on purpose.
That looks
To what
like
end?
now that suicide, murder, or whatever.
Halberd.
Trident. Winged spear.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Two-handed maul, yep. Isn't a two-handed maul, isn't a two-handed maul just a two-handed hammer? Isn't that kind of what we're talking about? Isn't that like a maul's a hammer?
Yeah.
Am I retarded?
Maul's shape is a little bit different, but it is essentially I like the word maul, though. I like that.
Oh, Jeff Hatch. His son says hi to the chat.
Hola. Let's give him something. What can we give him?
I love knowledge. Hey, Double D!
It's very age appropriate. Now get him out of the room, Jeff.
Absolutely not. He's welcome
this
to
is
stay.
This is unless your son is let's just say a teenager.
This is something that my old man would say. It puts hair on your chest.
That's right. That's right. What's your favorite James Bond movie? I read Crazymouse. You've never seen.
I've never seen a
James Bond movie.
I know that Grace Jones was in one of them.
View to a Kill.
Yeah.
Very good for like a schlocky movie. It wasn't a very good James Bond movie or a very good movie in general, but boy, it was kind of fun just to see Christopher Walken and Grace Jones.
Was his name Zane or something like? What was his name?
Zorin. Max Zorin.
Your name is Toby.
Mercurius, the dog did it. Double D. Never considered that. Thank you, buddy.
They
DB.
are smart.
Dog brothers, sword sisters. Hope everyone's week is balla. Hell yeah. Holla. Shot collar. 20-inch rims on the what? On the what? Impala. Crazy week at the dance floor. Busier than a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. Good to see you here, buddy.
It's burning a lot of carbs.
Yeah. Looks like the gang is all here. Ultra American Skyfall is the only James. Yeah, I don't know. Tabletop Ultra American is a little younger.
I know. Sorry, Chris. Never seen one.
Yep. You like the Matthew Bourne movies, though, didn't you?
Jason Bourne.
I'm sorry,
yeah,
Jason Bourne.
I did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those are good.
Those are just kind of a cousin. It's just kind of a modern iteration of like the James Bond.
I also never saw any of the Tom Cruise ones.
That
series,
Mission Impossible. I only saw like maybe one or two of those. Although I don't know. I know he's a Scientologist, but I don't know. Ever since he did that Top Gun 2,
he won me over. At the
me and you
movie.
both. Yeah, we were both there. We saw the movie, and just like, damn, that was a really good idea.
Double D and I went to Top Gun 2. I never saw Top Gun 1. So I took the afternoon off and watched Top Gun 1 before we went to see Top Gun 2. And everyone always makes fun of the volleyball scene with like the constant flexing and checking his watch. Well, the reason he was checking his watch because he had a date with that girl.
Oh yeah,
it made sense. Like it made sense why he was checking his watch so much.
Kelly McGillis. Take a look at her these days. Oof.
Oh boy, they replaced her perfectly with
I was
Jennifer
gonna
Connelly.
say,
Jennifer
Bit of an
Connelly
upgrade.
was mentioned in the first movie. Her character, like when him and they were getting in trouble, and they said like, "Oh, I did a drive like a flyby or whatever. It was to impress some girl." That's the girl. Like she,
I never
her
knew
character,
that.
her
That's
character
cool.
is referenced.
Okay, so there is a link. Okay.
Yeah, it's not like this girl came out of nowhere.
Frank Dazzlebeef, you ding, 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 ding. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. My favorite Bond movie, my favorite Bond girl, the redhead in Thunderball. Whoa.
Who was it?
Give me a moment here. Give me a moment here, peeps. I'm going to, don't you guys talk, just talk amongst yourselves. I'll show you.
Isn't on the top Famke Janssen?
Yes, on the top is. That's,
Yeah, she's from
Goldeneye.
Rounders.
Yep.
And that's Jean Grey.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure.
And looks kind of like the girl I worked with at Old Navy.
Not bad.
I know. Shout out to Mac Miller.
Bam.
Fiona Volpe.
Yeah, Fiona Volpe. Yeah. There's a better picture of her. These are all like dark as hell.
She's a pretty lady.
Yeah. All right. Show it to the cast here.
Who was your favorite Bond?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Got to be Connery. It's got to be Connery.
Idris Elba.
I need control here for a moment.
You got it.
Idris Elba, yeah. Pretty soon. Yeah,
We're getting some Sean Connerys. Jeff Hatch says Dalton.
Timothy
The only
Dalton is
the
actually
only Dalton I know is the guy from Double Deuce. You got a skinny little
runt here named Dalton.
Sean Connery, whole bunch of them.
I thought Dalton was pretty good. I mean, it's hard to beat Sean Connery. It really is.
Right there at the bottom, like that picture there. When she put her hair down, yum yum. Fiona Volpe.
Was that her name in the movie?
No, her name in the movie was wait, maybe it was. Yeah, maybe it was. Yeah, I'm all confused now. Badger, $2. Volpe, hotter than a dragon fart. Yeah.
Badger, you funny.
Yeah. I will say this. On Her Majesty's Secret Service is actually my second favorite one. It's the redheaded stepchild.
Oh yeah, what was the gentleman's name? I can't remember his
George
name.
Lazenby.
Yes. I like that one too.
So it's honestly the most emotional. It's the only one where he gets married, and it's got
Julio.
Diana Rigg. Julio, give him a little something there.
Got something for you.
Clear out of here!
Oh yeah,
Diana Rigg. That was the
Diana Rigg
from Game of
Thrones. Yeah, she was very beautiful.
She was a Bond girl.
Yeah, on Her Majesty's Secret Service.
She was in the Avengers, not the recent Avengers, but the one in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, yep. That's how she kind of got the role. Julio, thank you so much for your donation.
That's really
Didn't even
nice.
say anything.
He wanted to
just wanted to do it.
Thank you for your donation.
He was feeling it.
I hope I gave you the right one that you wanted. Then I'll give you another one real quick.
On guard.
there you go. It's like a heat check. He's just feeling it. Boom. Just going through them all.
There you go.
more.
There was the heat check right there.
Yeah. Carolyn Monroe. Whoa, is she beautiful too? I like her in some of the Hammer horror movies as well. Edgelord. Yep. Yeah, George Lazenby kind of took the bullet, so Roger Moore didn't have to, as far as coming after Sean Connery. But he did a pretty good job in that role.
He spoofed it well too in Cannonball Run.
That was Roger Moore. Yeah.
Yeah.
In Roger. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I almost forgot that he was in there. I'm Roger Moore. What? All right. Where are we going to start?
Yeah, Goldfinger was good. There's so many of them.
Goldfinger's a classic. I like it, but I think it has kind of like a slow spot in the middle.
Right.
Thunderball is the quintessential. If I was telling Crazymouse, like, hey, if you want to get an idea of what early James Bond was, Thunderball has the basic plot of supervillains, stealing nukes,
Was
beautiful girls.
Denise Richards a Bond girl?
Yes, she was.
Yeah.
Famously a nuclear psychiatrist. She spoofed that on her own. Yeah, she was a nuclear physicist. By that point, everybody was like, "All right, come on, this is bullshit." I think that was at the end of Pierce Brosnan's reign as Bond. Jeff from Denkar, $5 Canadian. The Man with the Golden Gun was a personal favorite, as it features Christopher Lee, who is related to Ian Fleming. Yes, exactly. He was a great villain. The movie itself was just okay, but he kind of elevated the material. I guess the reason I'm bringing that up is the Broccolis have sold out of James Bond, Barbara Broccoli, and it is in Amazon's hand now. Now, what could go wrong with a beloved franchise being sold to a gigantic corporation, like Star Wars and Disney?
Isn't it a big... I know it's a big deal to become a Bond girl, but isn't also, if I'm not mistaken, is it becoming a big deal to sing the Bond song?
Yes, yeah, for sure.
So the new Bond won't be a James Bond. It'll be an angry female Samoan.
Denise Richards is an OnlyFans girl now?
Really?
Good for
Shark,
her.
is that true?
Wow. 56 and OnlyFans.
Do you know who'd be a good Bond girl? That Linda Cardellini. I think she's good looking.
Hi. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, she could do kind of like an older... she would have been good like towards the end of Daniel Craig's run. But he's
I
gone
like Daniel
now.
Craig. I liked him as Bond.
He was a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. He was okay early on. I actually really dug the first two Daniel Craig movies. The last couple, Skyfall was okay, but I thought it was a little overrated, and Spectre was just bad. And I didn't even see the last one. I was so
The last one was bad.
Well, I had heard what happens.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I refuse.
You just don't do that.
I refuse.
You just don't do that.
No. You just don't kill James Bond.
You don't.
You don't step on.
You don't. The legend will
Superman's
continue with a
cape.
different face and hopefully with more swagger and more, more suaveness.
Yeah.
You just quoted that Jim Croce song.
Mm-hmm.
In both those songs, like Leroy Brown gets beat the hell up, and so does Jim. That other one, that Don't Mess Around with Jim.
Don't mess around.
Yeah.
He gets his ass kicked as well. In fact, isn't it implied that the one Don't Mess Around with Jim, that he gets killed?
I never knew
You
that.
could be right.
Yeah, I think that pool hustling son of a gun came to claim his money, and he beat the shit out of Jim and cut them all up and stuff.
I'll have to listen to it with the lyrics.
Yeah.
Full volume. Monica Bellucci. Yep. Very good. All right. Let's go into a little bit of industry.
Bring it.
Bring it on.
We don't have a ton. We do have a little live play later, though. We'll see how that goes. This is Justice Arman. Justice Ramin Arman.
Hey, I'm Justice Ramin Arman, and I'm the lead game designer for Heroes of the Borderlands, our biggest and best D&D starter set ever. We're showing the game off at New York Toy Fair this weekend, and we thought that you deserve a sneak peek too. Every part of this set has been designed so that you can open the box, start playing, and learn as you go. It's fast, it's fun, it's Dungeons & Dragons, and it's gameplay for everyone. We designed this set to be replayable, which means you'll be able to play Heroes of the Borderlands again and again and have a different experience every time. It's perfect for kids, it's perfect for 50-year-old kids, and we just can't wait for even more people to fall in love with this game. There's more to come. Stay tuned to D&D Beyond.
That's Justice.
There we go. This is
Arman.
breaking news.
Ooh. Patrick Demo, $10. Thank you, Patrick. Found a way to make a comparable income while looking for a more permanent job. I will never, however, crawl back to security for a corporation who cares nothing for its contractors. Yep. Good for you, buddy.
OnlyFans?
Yeah, okay, Patrick.
Did Denise Richards spark
Yeah,
that?
Patrick, are you...
Hey, no one's judging you.
Yeah, we're not judging. We don't judge, Patrick.
Gotta do what you gotta
Congratulations,
do.
Pat.
Food needs to be on the table.
Absolutely. Got to do what you got to do.
That was Justice Ramen Arma. I just wanted to remind everybody what this. He's one of the lead guys in Wizards of the Coast. Yeah, it doesn't exactly say Jim was dead, but he says he was cut in about 100 places and was shot in a couple more. Well, I think we can draw a pretty fair conclusion from
got
that.
worked over.
Yeah, if you cut me 100 times and shoot me a couple times,
Didn't he look like a jigsaw puzzle with a
that's-
couple of pieces missing? Or
No,
is that the
that's
other one?
Bad Leroy
All right.
Brown.
They're the same.
Yeah, here's Justice Arma. These laws are overwhelmingly written and passed by privileged, aging white men. Yep. There we go. I don't want white folks to feel like they can't include Persian stories or Persian characters. I want to empower and teach them. Oh, well, thank you so much for that, Justice.
Because we're all ignorant.
Yeah, exactly. Every demographic survey I've ever completed has left Middle Eastern and North African people off the list. He's so tired of bubbling in white. Wow. This dude must hate white people. God. I assure you, growing up in a white home is a very different experience. Like, what? There he is. Like, what?
Oh, the entitlement.
But I mean, that's who they put out there. Like, oh, who are we going to get for our basic box set? Oh, let's get this guy who hates our core audience. Dr. Urius, $5. What a bunch of gay shite that D&D starter set is. Yeah, by the way, Condor DM sucks, and so does he. A horrible game. Well said. Yeah, not exactly a handsome dude. Nah, making money the Garibay way for now.
Yeah.
There you go. You
Right.
and Crazymouse, you can
Amen.
ask him for advice. Yeah, I did a member-only stream over the weekend. I thought it went well. Had a pretty good turnout live. Enough to kind of make it to where I want to do it again. So we've kind of reached the point now where we can kind of have these sort of member-only streams. I'm going to try to do at least one a month, if possible. So if you guys missed it live, that's okay. Catch it on the rerun. But next time, try to catch it live.
To be a member is am I wrong? It's 99 cents a month.
Yeah, that's the lowest level.
Yeah.
That's all it takes. If you're short on dough, you can just do that. If you want to support the channel a little higher, there's a couple higher tiers.
If you really honestly tried, you could find 99 cents a month.
I would think so. But I do understand. I would never expect it or demand it. I always appreciate
it.
Badger, $2. Justice needs to educate himself on Al-Qadim. Yeah, great setting. Even Birthright has the Kanazi culture, and they treat it very respectfully too. Do they not?
Oh yeah, I played.
Rogan?
I played too.
Yeah, you've played.
I'm playing half.
You're playing kind of a half Kanazi right now. Yeah.
Edgelord, if you do decide to do one, let us know so we can promote it for you.
As our buddy Ryan would say, says Ultra American tabletop role player. Not another gold piece to Wizards of the Coast. Sick and tired of this woke DEI crap in the hobby and games. Make tabletop great again. You know what it speaks to? Because if you look back, Edens, thank you
Look
very
at
much.
that.
Thank you very, very much.
All right.
It's like they go back to the Borderlands, which of course is just a callback to Keep on the Borderlands, which is, by now 46, 6 years old, 45 years old. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Mercurius.
P-Skag Dad already got it.
Hell yeah.
Damn.
They have no original ideas. You know how every movie in Hollywood is a remake now of some kind?
Yeah.
Like they've just run out of ideas.
It's because there's no talent in Hollywood anymore.
Yeah. Well, gee, shockingly, running along a parallel track is Wizards of the Coast and D&D because there's, like I said, been saying for a while, there's no talent there. So they just keep going back to what they think worked. They keep going back to like Planescape. Spelljammer. Oh, we're going back to the Borderlands now. Even the ones that did work early on in 5th edition, like Curse of Strahd. I mean, okay. I mean, but how many times we got to do Strahd? Tomb of Annihilation is just kind of a callback to the Tomb of Horrors. Bruce Lombardo of Dick's Division, $5. Thank you, sir. I found a video from players that were angry at Condor DM. He ran a game for them for money, I believe.
Boy.
And he did the first session, then ghosted them.
Did he pay them or did they pay him?
Holy smokes.
I hope he paid them.
Wow. Get a hold of me, Bruce. I want to find that video.
Yeah. Link in the description.
Yeah. Do something to get me that information, please. John Osborne, $10. Give him something.
Your little footballs.
Laces out.
Laces out. $10. Turned in book number 11. Well, technically 10.5. It's a co-write to your publisher last night. Oh, great. It's military sci-fi in the Four Horsemen universe titled Caveat Emptor. Always like a little bit of that kind of stuff. I like Starship Troopers, the book and the movie. I don't know.
I was a non-Starship Trooper fan.
Yeah, you didn't like the movie.
Yeah.
I liked the movie.
I like the movie for what it was. Kind of good old-fashioned schlocky fun.
And Clancy Brown rocked.
Oh, hell yeah. So did, what's his name? The bald guy.
Ironside.
Michael Ironside.
Yeah.
Oh, he's great.
Great cast.
Who was the guy yelling at Tom Cruise and Goose in that Top Gun movie?
Yes.
Is it Ironside?
It all comes full circle.
Bruce Lombardo, 3-month membership. The anger
That's
at
awesome.
Condor DM goes back to YouTube origins. Okay.
He keeps a grudge.
He is still so upset. One of his latest videos, like we went over it on the member only stream, but he did like another one. He hates me, man. Woo, does he hate me?
There is that football player. He hate me.
Well,
you got to wear that jersey.
Yeah.
You need to go get that
I was going to
jersey,
say,
my
yeah, I
man.
got to write it across.
You like
here.
classics.
Yeah. Chris Miller, $5. Wizards of the Coast. Is there an adventure we haven't ruined yet? Yeah, that's pretty much the laziness with which they operate under.
They haven't touched Birthright yet.
Oh,
but
I'm just praying.
But that's
they don't.
something like if they were to touch that, like they've destroyed everything else that they've been putting their hands on. But like, how can they transition their vision into Birthright? It just wouldn't, obviously certainly wouldn't work, but it would not be Birthright. Not at all. I mean, like
I think we're safe because it was so based in Western European.
Right.
Same with like Dark Sun, I think had slavery in that. So I don't know if they'll ever touch that. And these are good things. And now it's a point like you used to think like, oh man, do you think they'll ever bring it back? Think you'll ever bring it? And the worm kind of turned and now it's like, God, I hope they never bring it back. Please don't bring it back. Please, you dumb fucks. Yeah. Give them something.
You called down the thunder, well now you got it.
You got it. Hell yeah, $10. Crawford of the Crimson Claw. Have we heard from Crawford of the Crimson Claw before? I like it.
Probably Greg Gillespie.
Crimson Claw.
Sounds very regal. Commies of the Coast don't want borders, so why is there still a Borderlands in 5e? Ooh, very good. I like that. And yes, this handle is in honor of your recent Jeremy Crawford bleeding hand video.
Yep. I mean, that was plain as day.
That was highly suspect.
Me love it. All right, Chris Miller, just because he's here all the time.
You've got ogres.
He's got ogres. Yeah, he still gets it. 10 years ago, I created a little game called Angkor, based on ancient Sumerian myth. It's a non-European setting done right. Yes, and Chris was kind enough to send me the basic books. It is a very solid game. It'd be great for like a little mini campaign.
Chris always has his shit together.
He does. He has it locked down. Remember, I have the link to Chris's stuff, I believe, in all my videos and chats.
Remember that night he was just hitting threes nonstop. Boom, 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 boom.
Oh, he's in the zone. Yep. He's like Michael Jordan. Ryan Nikolai, $2. At least Dark Sun is too much for them. Now. Yeah. That's kind of what I was saying. Yeah. LJ Costanzo, $5. Starship Troopers, book and movie were both great, but felt like very different types of sci-fi from each other. Yeah, that's fair enough. I enjoyed them both for different reasons. Frank Dazzlebeef, 7-month member. Thank you,
That's
sir.
awesome.
It is.
Excellent. Thank you.
Wrote my own keep on the Borderlands using Donjon, random dungeons, and it worked like a champ to kick off your CNC campaign.
Donjon's a local welding factory in our town.
Yeah, they do ship work.
Yeah.
Ship work. Very good. Thank you very much, Frank. No one of consequence, $5. How can they do keep on the Borderlands? The original had not one but two tribes of orcs in it. But we've been told that orcs are no longer evil.
Yeah.
The tribes are now white rednecks.
Yes. You come across them. They're barbecuing outside.
There's a tailgate on their wagon.
Yeah.
They're offering you beer.
They seem to be doing some sort of backyard wrestling.
They're throwing a little bag into a hole.
Welcome aboard, Travis Pop.
Woo, made it for the live.
All right.
Yep. Good to see you here. Ooh, 117. Good. Yeah, so there's your Wizards of the Coast news, the newest box set, which you could say it's not Tribes Now, but Rival.
You stop it.
Baristas.
Hitting threes.
Chris, you're funny.
From the corner.
I think even like the 5th edition starter set, the first one was well thought of because I think it didn't have Than Delver in it. I didn't get it. It's you have to really work to screw that up, and I can already tell they've probably screwed this one up. So you've been warned. You've been warned, people. I can cross that one off. Basic set hosted by that guy who hates your guts. But don't worry, it's not like he's in a position of power at Wizards of the Coast creatively or anything.
He looks like the guy from the American Pie movies. Not the one that humps the pie, but the one that was in love with Tara Reid. I don't know the actor's name. He never did anything else. But
Chad is going to have that in about 10 seconds.
The whiny one that was in love with Tara Reid the whole time.
I've never seen any of those movies.
Snake Oil Sean.
I know, what a nice guy.
Doing it. Give him a little something.
Yeah,
for
we
that.
are. Let me find something. Let's see here.
Oh, you tagged me on it.
Good at something, never do it for free.
Yep, there you go. That's for you, Sean. Thank you very much. And Bruce Lombardo, $2. I tagged you on X. Good.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you very much.
Excellent.
Yep. Tag your it.
Not Stifler. It's not Stifler. He doesn't look like Will Wheaton to me.
Hold on one second. I'm going to take control here for just a moment.
You got it. Now give me a chance to look up this American Pie guy.
Yeah, you guys talk while Rogan, why don't you talk to the chat there, Rogan?
Hello. I'm trying to.
That's your cue. It's your big break, buddy.
Hello. How does this work? Hello. But no, I haven't seen any of those movies. I have a difficult
Thomas
time.
Ian Nichols.
Thomas Ian Nichols. Okay, now that this is only 4-minute video. Thanks so much to Bruce. I think we can switch, and just kind of maybe watch this one here. So hold on here.
I'm curious.
Let me do a.
All yours.
Let me do a little. I got to put on the desktop audio, and then I got to remember to turn it off.
Those movies with angst teenagers in them bother me. I can't deal with them.
That's when Shannon Elizabeth became real big.
Yeah, she's very hot.
You guys let me know if this is coming through sound wise.
Hey guys, it's
Yep.
Tim with Tabletop Terrors. James isn't with me because
Chris Miller says
this is
yes.
sort of a one-off video, which is why I'm filming it from the lush interior of my 2010 Toyota Camry.
Why has he got a mirror in the back?
We have a...
Is that a magnifying glass?
I don't know. Do we like this guy so far? I mean, I'm not sure. He hates Condor, I think.
Has he run over anything yet while he's driving? I like him already.
Oh yeah, baby mirror.
Oh,
yeah, baby mirror. Yeah,
magnifying glass.
Good.
Or magnifying glass.
big relaunch that's coming up starting May 1st. And so we really haven't been doing any videos because we're prepping for that. But this is more of a response video because there's a YouTube user who has my interest very much. And so this is kind of a, this is a direct invitation. I'm very interested in a YouTube user called Condor DM.
I question his judgment already. Like,
Right.
What would Condor have said that would like, unless you're like, boy, I found this circus freak.
This guy's got 22,000 subscribers.
This guy could be doing a bait and switch right now. I'm hopeful.
To show you, this is 9 years ago, guys.
Oh, wow.
This was 9 years ago.
Jiminy Christmas.
Okay.
He found him a new bowl before he became famous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I saw this
What I
guy
wanted
named
to
Michael
see,
Jordan playing
if
pickup
Condor,
basketball.
if you're interested in this, I wanted to see if you'd be willing to run a game for me and James, not broadcast. The reason why, I think you're a smart guy, and I think you have a lot to say. I think lately some of your comments have been misunderstood. And so this isn't trolling. This isn't a trap. I genuinely want to... I just want to see what your style is, what you're trying to get across. It interests me. I am someone who journalistically, I like the theory of the game. You know, we have a whole channel devoted to talking about the game and how to play and so on. I understand that my style is probably going to be very different than yours, but if you're willing, I want to see what you're about, man. I want to play in one of your games, see your theories at work, and if you're interested, it's not
kind
going to
of
be
baiting Condor. Like, I know Condor's a complete retard. He's like just trying to be nice. Like,
Is this the brother that stole his wife?
Ooh, yes. Congratulations. You just bought me, 4 more years of him saying, like, they keep spreading this lie about my brother. I don't have a brother.
Broadcast afterward either.
That was in his
Pride
latest video
between
on me.
us. Me, you, James, and whoever else you want to play in the game. But in the quest to seek different play styles and journalistically explore all the different expressions of tabletop role-playing games,
This
that's
sounds
it.
like a
I
dude
wanted
buttering
to
up a
see
girl to ask
if
him
you'd
out.
be willing
To ask her out.
run a game for me and James, because I want to see your theories in action.
What's up,
I think
OGGM?
I read that.
they're misunderstood sometimes in comments and things like that, but will you do that? Will you run a game?
Yeah, how has he only been, that maybe he had to have made like other channels, right? Like OG, he never made videos in 2017. Huh.
Chris Miller says maybe Condor meant brother the way black people mean brother.
Yes. I'll get this one. Dark Knight of Hibernia. Good to see you, sir. Yes, feed the lol cow's ego. What could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
Yeah. Yep.
For me, James, and whoever else you choose, I would love to hear your response. And again, this is, I'm waving a white flag here. This isn't anything other than a peaceful gesture, because I think your views are important. I think that you're a sharp guy. I've listened to some of your videos.
A sharp guy.
Yeah, so that's all, man. I just want to
Talking
try to
about
bridge
the same
gap and
Condor.
see where you're
Maybe
coming from.
OGGM's right. There's another Condor DM.
I wonder if 9 years ago that box of Q-tips was still on the desk behind him. I can't.
So hopefully this video makes sense. Hopefully you'll be willing to do something like that for us. It would just be like a one shot. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. You can even we could do pre-gens. We can create the characters. Ideally, I would love to know your process from, bottom to top. Like, how would you do it with your regular table players? Would we roll our own stuff? What kind of stats do you use? I think it would be an awesome thing to expose myself to an entirely different type of gaming. And I think that you have such a different viewpoint from where I'm at. But I want to come at it with I'm willing to learn, and I'm open, and I want to see how you do it. Not to critique it, not to judge it, but to learn. I'm a musician.
Just to experience
and
it.
I'm terrible at music theory. But that doesn't mean that I don't need to expose myself to it and learn it. And so for me, the style of play that I have is exactly what I love. But I want to see the style of play that you have and why you love it, and understand it from the table, from the die rolls to the way the character sheet works, to the way that you DM. Anyway, I wouldn't just do this for anybody. So this isn't that everyone who disagrees with me, I want to play with you.
No, he's.
It's
like courting him.
Does it not sound
I
like
see
it?
that you're a guy who has sharp viewpoints. I see that in your videos, you're well spoken, you're well thought out.
It's the same
I just
Condor
wanna see
we're
what
talking
you
about? What the
do
heck?
at the table and see if I can learn anything from it. So, Condor
Remember
DM.
how
Sit at the knee of the
here's
master.
thing. There's a actress named Kate Hudson.
Oh yeah.
And then the singer
Goldie
Katy-
Hawn's daughter, right?
Yeah. And the singer Katy Perry's real name is Kate Hudson, but she changed her name to Katy Perry so there would be no confusion. What if this Condor DM he's courting is really not the Condor DM?
Wow, that would blow my mind.
You're both involved in gaming.
Yeah.
But maybe the new Condor DM stole another Condor DM's name. Because that guy was really that impressed with Condor DM.
Yeah, you can't be talking about the Condor that we know.
Yeah, that we know.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. Bruce, thank you so much again, Bruce. For $5, Condor DM left YouTube one time 4 or 5 years ago because of Max. And then he just left a year or so ago because just probably personal reasons because, as he publicly said, he was going through a divorce and all that stuff. Condor is as sharp as his brother's basketball. Thank you, Dark Knight. Just let that one go.
True story.
OGGM, Cal, if you're here, if OGGM has a link where his products are, can you put it in the chat for everybody? OGGM has been let's just say he's been very friendly. I have been meaning to look at some of the stuff you've sent OGGM. I've been very, very busy, as always these days. But yes, I will. In the meantime, though, please, check out his stuff. I know he did something for Miguel and Sylvia. The Red Room. Chris Miller. I want to see a remake of the movie Condor Man, but starring Condor DM. I always remember that movie. I saw that in 7th grade field day. Are you saying Condor is Rock Hudson? Says Edgelord for $2.
Like it.
Dark Knight of Hibernia, €2. There are easier ways to ask Condor out on a date.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was kind of hemming and hawing. Wayne Brock, $10. Give him something.
Let's find something for him.
You can go to page 2.
I am.
Bam.
Oh, yeah. A classic. It was jealousy all along. He wants you. Maybe. Maybe he wants some of my... the thimble full of clout that I have. Apparently he wants some of that.
Drink from my cup.
Yep.
I drink your milkshake.
He's got to wet his beak a little bit. That actually works with Condor. Bruce Lombardo again, $5. 5 years ago, Condor DM used to make 5-minute videos. They were getting traction. He was getting real numbers. Then he left when questions were asked. So was he already over 1,000 at that point? I feel like there's a lot of lore with Condor that I'm just completely unaware of. Interesting though. He's coming up on 1,000 again. Right. He's doing it the hard way. He's like lately he's like a $5 whore. He cranks out like 10 videos a day, gets like 30 views on each one of them. So he's doing it the hard way.
So 5 years ago, he disappeared or came back?
I guess so. So
is that when he bought his mail order bride? Oof.
Ouch. Ouch. I don't care anymore. Fuck him. Yeah. He's a piece of shit. Edgelord, $2. All right, give it to him.
Bitter dregs.
That haunts me,
Thank you. Yes.
that soundbite has haunted me.
Forbidden lore, says Patrick Demo.
Bruce Lombardo says he was over 1,000, just not monetized.
Okay. Yeah, maybe it was a little different a little while ago. Which, I mean, look at being like getting over 1,000. I got news for you. Just because you're over 1,000, that doesn't mean like YouTube starts stroking checks to you. It was a blow up doll that his brother Paul. Jeez, guys are brutal.
Hitting below the belt.
Guys are brutal, but I don't care anymore. Like I said,
we don't need no sticking belt.
I found out something yesterday, so I hope you guys, some of you were able to tune in. And then we'll go into like the Troon.
Yes.
We'll go to the Troon video and all that stuff. James,
that's very nice.
Amigo,
awesome. Thank you.
I popped on James' stream a couple of days ago. I was painting some of my epic battles, Napoleonics. Me, him, and Dark Knight of Hibernia were just hanging out. So you never know. If I'm gonna just go hang out somewhere, it's gonna be on James's channel. Just relaxing on the front porch, as I say. Thank you so much, buddy.
Drinking some of that Tennessee tea.
Yeah. Last night I was on Dundermoose's show. It was very, very good. It was me, Sandy Peterson, creator of Call of Cthulhu, and
who's been on our show.
Yep, has been on our show.
Did he ask about Rogan and Mouse?
He did not. It was weird. Apparently, somebody else was asked to be on that show. So there was going to be Dundermoose and then 4 of us. It was Dundermoose and 3 of us. So Sandy popped in the pre-show, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I don't mind being here." He's like, I saw everybody who was going to be on, and I saw there was one person I liked and one person I hated, but I was still going to come on anyway. He's like, and I'm not going to tell you guys which. And I'm just like, what?
Wow. That's
just like,
all right.
I hope I'm on the right side. He seemed to be fine with me throughout, so I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed and hope I didn't piss off Sandy Peterson somehow. But, I don't know how he could have. I love the guy. He's pretty much just like a common sense conservative. He's a legend. But yeah, no, but it was great. It was
the interview without your glasses on.
Yeah. Well, when I'm around, honestly, somebody like a legend, the glasses come off. If we're just goofing around here, or I'm with just a bunch of other YouTubers, it's a different story. But I will pay my due respect to the
OGs.
To the OGs, Rob Kuntz, Sandy, those guys, glasses come off. But yeah, no, it was a great conversation.
You hear that,
too.
Condor? Come on our show.
If that's what it takes to get them on here, I will take these motherfuckers off. Trust me.
Let's have that conversation.
But you know what I found? Like, all right, so Sandy, he did the Irish goodbye, and just as soon as the show was over, boom, he's gone. But I was just talking with Dundermoose and Mr. Latorno after. And we were just talking like bro SR stuff. I don't know if you guys realize this. Jeffro is gone, like from gaming.
Why?
He just had enough. Like it's on Twitter. He just kind of says, basically saying like, I'm sick of like I think he's just sick of gamers and like I think basically just the whole culture around it. He honestly said, he's like, honestly, I could write a book about dancing, like swing dancing, and it would probably get better traction and it wouldn't piss me off like half as much. So he's like, basically just said, peace out. I'm fucking out of here.
He's too busy dancing. There you
that
go.
conversation we had with him was great.
Oh yeah. And honestly, to be fair, like I left, I hope on pretty good terms with him. In fact, somebody I knew, who I think knows him, I just said, hey, look, tell Jeffro, I said hello. Cause I think he's an interesting guy, at the end of the day. And, like I said, I bear no ill will at all towards him. I thought he was a pretty interesting guy.
I thought that show went pretty well.
Oh, it was one of the highlights of the channel. In fact, the guy that was on the show, he has a 15-year campaign. That Latorno, I can't remember his first name. He was a really nice guy, and he said that's how he sort of got started with like the kind of bro SR style. He watched that interview and was like, "Gee, this Jeffro kind of seems like he has some halfway good ideas." So I felt honored. Dark Knight of Hibernia, $2, €2, Double D. I had fun chatting with you in James's stream. Yeah, me too, buddy. Yeah, it was nice just to kind of paint and just kind of, like I said, it's just like you're sipping iced tea on the porch. Yeah, a little bit. Why do you think I keep them on most of the time? My problem is my eyes are so weak.
Why are you always so wet?
My eyes are weak because I'm Swedish, so it's like I got the squinty eyes. Like light, like any bright light is.
I always got the impression that you were looking into people's souls. I could be wrong.
I'm always judging. It's just say that I'm always judging. So Zophalic, you only live twice. You're not the only one who said that. It's kind of like the overlooked Sean Connery Bond movie, the one in Japan. Donald Pleasant says Blofeld.
Love Donald Pleasant.
Love him. He wasn't great for that. Telly Savalas was better in on Her Majesty's Secret Service. All right. Tell you what, let's go to cut 4. Okay, so as we all know, huge dust up last Friday at the White House.
What happened?
Because let me tell you, you don't have the card.
Hold on one second. I gotta mute the desktop audio so it don't echo. So Zelensky was there, president of Ukraine, there to sign a rare minerals deal. And as most of us know, he got into a little fight with J.D. Vance. And then Trump, honestly, he's always going to have his boys back. He jumps in.
With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question.
All right, so like I said, most of us know how that went. I saw some pretty funny mashups and AI videos on YouTube on this, so just thought I'd run these.
And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
Gotta love AI. This isn't AI. This is the Ukrainian reporter as all that was going on. Yes, so let's see. We'll go to this cut here. Let's see. Go to 5. All right. State of the Union last night. I didn't see it live. I saw it on a rerun. This is rising Democrat superstar before the State of the Union, Jasmine Crockett.
Oh, she's
Yeah.
a heroine of some people I know.
Yeah, some people close to placed close to Crazymouse. Well, this is going to remind you of the early days
Doesn't
of
she
COVID.
talk like Dr. Seuss? Is that the one that uses all the same alliteration?
Yeah, she tries to. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, she's a sister, trying to do the kind of preacher thing. She also, I guess, has some moves.
It's a cultural divide. I'm gonna get it on the floor. You really about to do it? 40 acres in the mule.
Is this for
bigger than
real?
the music.
Oh yeah.
These are politicians.
This is a sitting member. This is a high office holder of the United States of America.
Who are the other two people? Secretaries?
I don't know. Buffoons.
Buffoons.
Hangers on.
Tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence.
You gotta realize, lady, doing that right there, you're gonna lose votes. And it's not because of racism; it's because of idiocy. She's an idiot.
There's your rising superstar. If you want to clip that. Dancing in a hall like a nurse in the early days of COVID.
How busy they were.
Yeah. Apparently she's busy too. Has her fucking tongue out. Yeah, Zelensky. He did. He posted it. Yeah, and he made the deal. I wanted to fail and get knocked off by his own. It's probably the best possible outcome for everybody. I do understand where you're coming from, though. Yeah. Everybody, and of course, everybody was like, Trump screwed it up. Trump screwed it up. It took, what, less than a week? It took 5 days, 4 days? Yeah, and they're constantly saying how Trump's disrespecting the office. Yep. A-hole parasite lashes out. Shocking. More at 10. Yep. So as I say, I understand why the sisters are all about that. What are you white dudes like? What are you getting out of this?
Oh
no! All right, so you may not have heard of this, and some of you may not.
He's a brain cancer survivor.
Yeah.
As soon as
Listen
he said that,
this is DJ, and he was kind of prominent in last night's speech.
we were speeding all the way, running lights, going to the hospital, and then next thing you know, I was seizing on the table. They said, "No, we're gonna have to go in his brain tonight." Ever since then, I had 13 brain surgeries, and that's how many times my personality has changed. And that's something that you don't hear from a terminally ill child. They had 5 months to live. I'm gonna keep on going until my gas tanks run out. And that's when God calls you home. You never know when God's gonna call you home. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my dad. I know he's pretty proud of me, and I'm pretty proud of him too. And I'd like to thank President Trump, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here today.
But in 2018, DJ was diagnosed with brain cancer. The doctors gave him 5 months at most to live. That was more than 6 years ago.
Good for that
one. What a great scene. He was made an honorary Secret Service member. That's the head of the Secret Service there. I mean, how much more American can you get than this? But not everybody liked it, apparently. There's your Democrats.
Is that Hillary? Who is that?
Everybody's clapping. I don't want to say every Democrat, wasn't clap. The Democrats that were clapping for this were very few and far between. Now, this is something both parties do. They always include these special guests that everybody is supposed to get behind. It's to show that we may disagree, but hey, as Americans, let's all support these normal people. What is wrong with this party that can't support a kid who's had 13 brain surgeries, has brain cancer? It's really sad, and I just don't understand it.
The party of inclusion.
Yeah. Gangster rap blasted by politicians. When will we see the White House have a turf war between the Bloods and the Crips? Disgraceful behavior, honestly. Yeah. Thank you, buddy. This one touched, and these guys know why personally, why this would touch me. I was a very, very close member of my family, had brain cancer, had a brain surgery, a very, very long surgery. And you can only kind of understand this when you kind of go through it. So to sit there and see everybody on one side turned around, clapping, and pretty much in tears, when he's hugging that Secret Service guy, and you got these fucking insane people checking, either plugging their ears or checking their hearing aid. They can't be bothered with this. No matter what you say, a couple of them chicks, I think there was one behind them that were clapping. Maybe a few were. I don't want to say every single one wasn't, but by and large, they didn't stand, they didn't clap because they hate President Trump so much that they would not clap for a kid with cancer. I'm sorry. You are fucking insane. Get off of that ship if you're still on it. How do you not clap for that kid? Yep. They do. If they had their way. If they had their way, Chris.
Wasn't there a thing about, remember like the Crips and the Bloods, what that viewer said? Isn't there something like, remember a lot of Bloods wear Chicago Bulls stuff? I know because of the red and maybe because of Michael Jordan, but didn't the word Bulls in the gang society mean something? Doesn't that acronym mean, isn't it like Bloods usually live longer or something like that? For Bulls?
It sounds, I say it sounds right. I have no idea though. I'd just be guessing if I said so. But now that you say it, Bulls actually, Bulls usually. Go ahead, put that back up there. I didn't get a chance to read that one.
Here you go. Here you go.
Yeah, Crawford of the Crimson Claw, $5. Thank you very much, DJ. The new blackface of white supremacy. Yeah, Larry Elder's off the hook. Yeah, it's shocking that they didn't just start to call him a. Yeah,
there it is. I had
Bloods
a feeling
usually
that was
live
right.
longer and stronger. There you go, Ironcaster, my boy, 1 month member.
Thank you,
Kenzakai,
All right.
420.
Excellent.
In your long campaign with PCs who are children of your previous PCs, how do you balance magic item inheritance and keep the spotlight on the current PCs? Well, I'm usually fairly stingy when it comes to. I've sort of opened up recently. There hasn't really been that many. Like there's a Ma's hammer is hanging on the wall of the crummy crab.
Yeah. There's a dagger that is lost somewhere in Hostler Manor.
Yeah, there's a very powerful dagger that's out there somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's usually, I think these guys usually get it. They're not going to start the game with, a very, very high level artifact or anything.
Well, right now, my character is 5th level, and I currently have a +1. It's not even a dagger. It's a knife, +1 knife.
Yep. Yep. But, like my daughter's character has this fear helmet and like a pretty good like crossbow that's like magical plus like a magic sword. I don't know. It's just kind of, I guess you'll have to wait till there's like a bevy of daggers or knives.
Well, also you have to earn that stuff. Those are usually gifts from we usually don't. Well, the helm and the crossbow and the sword that she got were all found.
Yes.
And in fairness, we all had a chance to claim them. She just was the one that... It wasn't one of those like I grabbed it first. It was... Some of our characters aren't treasure hunters in this campaign.
Yeah. Yeah, there's... So
when there is a pile of loot, some of us don't even... go over to it.
Yeah, that last.
It's not your main concern.
Yeah, that when the with the campaign up to take care of Sister Brenda's that situation. For a couple of us, there was absolutely had nothing to do with loot or anything like that. When that was resolved, and a bunch of stuff was available, I my character was there for, to honor her and to support her, and Crazymouse's character was the same. So when it was all said and done, taking loot didn't feel right.
Yeah.
And I see like somebody said, not a fan of stingy shit. Keep in mind too, Birthright's not. It's not like Forgotten Realms. It's not like high magic to begin with. Like every magic sword is supposed to have some kind of like little bit of history behind it. Every magic weapon is supposed to. So it's not kind of like you're like normal. So I shouldn't say stingy because I have obviously awarded legendary magic. I ask Crazymouse about Ultimatum.
That's the dagger that's out there.
Which
I don't even think, to be fair, could be used in this.
It would have to be just adjusted a little bit.
Right.
I think, yeah.
I don't think there's been a situation where we could have handed off anything like that to any of our offsprings. Like the hammer, for example, Ma's hammer, there was no offspring that came from that would have used the hammer, for example. I think that I think that Mrs. Double D used one of was it Will's swords, but it was not a magical sword.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think there's been a case where we're able to hand down and we've always it's always been kind of things happen the way they do, and it's never like, here son, take my sword and adventure. No, we've never been in that position.
Yeah. One of the reasons why Ultimatum is the name of the dagger wasn't passed on, I felt like it had just been the same character over and over again.
Yeah, sometimes you want to get there on your own steam.
Ultimatums was Kez, a thief named Kez, who had a son named Calvin. Calvin had his own thing of cat's claws, which actually made him go berserk if he wore them too long.
I remember when you found those.
Yeah. And then there was the character after that, his name was Isaac, and he was an assassin, so he had like a poison dagger, and he was more into poisons.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brozen was the character after that, and he was not part of that actual family, even though he's part of that family now.
Kind of like an adopted.
Yeah.
He's like an adopted.
But he has a son now, Tepper, and he has another child too. We have not rolled if it's a boy or a girl, I believe. But
yeah, we have not. Yeah, we should do that at some point.
So I wouldn't even if Ultimatum got passed along, it would be to Tepper, and he's not a true Hoswer. I don't know.
Yeah. But I mean, he's still legit,
He is, but I mean, he's from Hoswer Manor, which is the name of the manor, which you could have a whole show on Hoswer Manor.
Oh, yeah.
Khan, his sword was taken by the King of Aria, was it?
Mm-hmm.
It was the husband of the queen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, Bin Sada.
Yes.
Was it Bin Sada? Yeah. All right, back to business. All right, it's not just the politicians that are crazy. Like here's just your normal. These are insane.
I don't know if this is gonna get me banned or not, but Donald Trump needs to be fucking shot, guys. Someone needs to shoot him.
Y'all, I fear somebody's got to do it and get it done quickly.
Oh gosh.
Somebody's got to do it, and we need to set up a GoFundMe for whoever does it to make sure they have the absolute best commissary in there, top-notch noodles. Top-notch deodorant and shampoo. And hypothetically, if you don't make it after you do it, your kids' will go to the top universities with that GoFundMe we'll set up for you. But somebody's got to do it and get it done quickly.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
All right, so this is a bunch of Democrat politicians all weirdly posting the same shit.
True, that's what you just heard. Since day one of Donald Trump's presidency, prices are not down, they're up. Inflation is getting worse, not better. The prices of groceries, gas, housing, eggs, of essentials, it's not getting better, it's getting worse. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has done nothing.
Is it the same writer? They must have the same writer.
That's what Elon Musk asked. He's like, he said on X, I will give a Cybertruck to the person who can prove to me who wrote this script. Like he was not bullshitting. He's like, I want to know who wrote this. It's not just them, by the way. There was like dozens more who were following the same script.
Violent.
These are leaders in the party.
You know, NorCal Bowhunter, you're exactly right. That girl needs to be arrested for soliciting a hit on a president.
Yeah. I mean, at least be visited by the Secret Service.
Well, yeah. I mean, she's talking about money, financial compensation for the death of a president.
Yeah, it's not just like, well, I wish he would die, or that's bad. I mean, that's bad enough.
That was the first guy.
Yeah, that was the first guy. Well, yeah, and he even went a little further. Like, somebody needs to do this. But yeah, to actively sit there and fantasize about this in public, these people are sick, man. These are really, really sick people. I don't understand how you could let someone invade your brain so much. Like, the next 4 years for these people, I mean, it's just going to be consumed with hatred. So sad. $2 from Cal. The eggs have been found in Fort Knox. That's right. Also, Cal.
Your name is Toby.
Just wanted to remind you. All right, last one. We got some Troon lunatics. Here we go. Oh yeah, great day for women's sports. Imagine that's your daughter out there. Look at all those girls, and then
how recent is this?
Oh, this is very recent.
I thought they banned all this crap.
Is that a dude?
Oh yes, yeah. They're openly defying it. Well, what really happens, Crazymouse, is they will not get like Title IX funding if they do this, but they're like trying to take it to court, and they're saying, sue us and all that stuff.
Oh my god!
Watch this poor girl.
If I was sitting there and my daughter was manhandled like that, I'd be on the court knocking the kid down. I got no shame in that game.
Tell me you're the party of women when you sit there and go, we need more of this. You got one common sense party out there saying we got to stop this, and the fucking retards who say we're all about women. Let's wear our pussy hats. Let's wear pink to the State of the Union. Yet they can watch this. And they will literally sit there and go, yeah, what's wrong with this? There's nothing wrong with this.
How much taxpayer money was spent for all them buying pink? Because they didn't pay out of their own pocket.
Yeah. That get Doji involved in that. Yeah, Chris Miller, Geraldo to go to Fort Knox. Yep. Probably the same results, Chris, if you know what I mean. Yes, this would piss me off. I know it probably pisses Crazymouse and Rogan both off because, all of us have daughters.
Yeah, we had daughters in sports.
Yeah. Yeah, this could very easily have been any one of our daughters.
Hey, my daughter, she has her own career now, and she's all grown up. But she, one of her like side things she does, hobbies is she got herself involved in water polo in that area. It's co-ed water polo, like adults.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The first game my daughter had in a co-ed team, she was pretty bent.
Yeah, I would be
furious because, like, a 22-year-old guy versus a 22-year-old woman, or a 25-year-old guy, water polo is a brutal sport, women to women or guy to guy. But
you're not going to win. You're not going to win against a guy.
No, not at all.
I mean, this is what happens. These kids. There's no reason to think they're not the same age.
I reminded my daughter though, like, sweetheart, you did sign up for this.
Yeah, in her case, at least, it was, yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Well, I mean, you could say that now to all these girls. Well, you knew it. You knew there could be a dude.
But in a school situation like this, again, the mystique or the imaginative, it should be a safe place. You should not worry about your child going to school, being accosted by a dude.
A dude, yes. That poor girl. Dude's just doesn't even. I mean, give me a fucking break. Guy's like 6 foot already. It's one thing if it's a girl. Look,
what grade is this?
And he's got a man bun.
Yeah, it's got to be. I gotta say, middle. Looks like upper middle school, doesn't it? It's in Massachusetts. That's all I know. That's a 6 foot tall, like 8th grader.
He's got a man bun.
Yeah. Like what?
Yeah, look at that.
What is wrong with you that you? I'm talking about the dude now.
Yeah.
Like you feel good about yourself, what you just did?
that dude he'd be carried out of there.
Oh, watch this. Another great moment in women's sports. There you go. Yep, just wrong. I mean, just obviously crushed like whatever, women distances there were.
Hernandez of Rupa Valley High School. Amazing. 3 wins today. What was the SMR?
SMR, long, triple, and then I have high later.
Yeah. That's a dude.
2 things to know. I'm not non-binary. I go by they, them. And I work in a store that is pretty much all women. So whenever they're like addressing us or when they're talking, they're always like, hey ladies. So I've taken it upon myself as someone that is non-binary to use this to not listen. And whenever anyone addresses a group as ladies, I am not included. So when they say, hey ladies, let's like stop talking, or hey ladies, let's like get to work, I will do none of it because you're not talking to me. You're not talking to me. You're not talking to me. So I will not listen to anything that is said when it is started with, hey ladies. I'm a theydy, not a lady. A theydy.
In 10 years, you'll be looking back and regretting that.
Do we have that
Why
clear?
can't I get a job? I keep getting let go everywhere I go.
They didn't call me theydy.
John Osborne. Hey it, you're fired. Hey theydy, get out.
She asked me what my pronouns are. She asked
her breath is delayed. Is cholesterol agenda? Her pronouns are all you can eat, and she identifies as hungry. This is next level stuff. Pronouns are she ate them. Pronouns are no. Pronouns are humongous. Blood type mayonnaise. Her pronouns are LBS KG. And your pronouns are heavy. You should start casket shopping ASAP. Do your veins contain anything other than sugar and cholesterol? Somebody said blood type McDonald's. Don't listen to the haters, so much bigger than that. Wait an hour. Wait an hour. Her pronouns are hungers.
That's awesome.
Somebody, that must have been an AI. Like they took all the comments underneath like that. There was obviously some TikTok about some pronoun chick again.
That is awesome.
Well done, whoever did that.
me and the devil.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with this person.
Yeah,
a little bit.
It's like you look at it and you're like, ugh. Your primal brain is still asking yourself, would I or
Are they
would I?
cosplaying?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, you see the curves in the chest area there.
Is this a cosplay outfit contest or something?
I think this is like more body, like changing. Like I think some of this stuff is permanent.
Body,
oh my goodness gracious! That's a shame.
And that is exceedingly expensive to do all that.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, there's a good palette there. I'm not sure why she chose to shit on it instead of just kind of leaving it be.
Walking side by side.
She had her nose cut off.
Yes. Yeah.
Since you were behind me, so now you want to go ahead? I'm just going to block you. Now you're not going to go anywhere today, so I can
Nobody's answering, so how is this my fault?
It says till 2 o'clock. Maybe if you roll your goddamn window down, you hear it.
Okay, so...
Who don't hear that message because you're busy playing on your fucking phone.
Okay, so what do you have to do here? What do you have to do here if it's open at 2? Why are you here?
I'm here to put something up too.
Challenge accepted.
All right, so this is a elected official. Shock, surprise, surprise. Obviously, some sister in the car. They're just waiting for this place to open.
Like to get cheeseburgers or something? What
I think it's like a pharmacy because they talk
okay.
about drugs.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think it's like a CVS or something. And then he just starts getting all belligerent. But wait, just wait until wait until she says what she says to set him off.
Okay, so if it don't open till 2. Okay, so if it don't open at 2, then how the hell are you gonna pick up your medicine? Answer me that.
Easy. I'm right in front of that thing. How are you gonna get it?
Okay, can you get the fuck off my car? Thank you, sir.
Actually,
Yeah, thank you, sir. Like I said.
Sir? Oh, really, sir?
Thank you.
Sir? You want to keep saying sir, bitch? You want to keep saying sir, bitch? Piece of shit. Piece of fucking shit. You want to keep saying sir? Are you a Trump voter?
What are you gonna do?
Are you a Trump voter?
No, the fuck I'm not. But
really?
what the fuck are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
She probably is now.
What are you gonna do?
You sound like a MAGA bitch.
But you touching my shit like you own it. Do you own it?
It is
Do you
shit.
own it? Okay, but why are you touching my stuff?
I'm not touching.
Why are you touching my stuff?
I'm not touching anything.
Clearly,
Why
you
are
was
you
just.
talking?
I have you on camera. I have you. Bro, I'm not even playing. I'm not playing. Get the fuck in the car. I am not playing with you.
Oh, you're not playing? What are you going to do?
Bro.
Oh, yeah.
Bro.
What's so feminine? What are you gonna do?
Get the fuck in your car. I'm not fucking playing with you.
That reminds me, what is the big green pig beast in Star Wars?
Oh, the Gamorrean guards.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's the ticket.
I was gonna say Jabba.
They worked for Jabba. So I started blasting, officer. There's one other one. Hold on 1 second here. I have to do a little work here. Crazymouse. There's one video I neglected to put in there, but I think I can sneak it in.
Let's do that.
I can sneak it in. Oh yes, there it is. All right. Hold on 1 second. I gotta frame it out here, fellas. All right, so this is in a store. I'm not sure where this is. You guys have to tell me. What are they trying to get? He's got a broom. They're trying to get something.
Are they trying to get a rat?
Keep watching.
Okay, go ahead.
I see something there.
Watch out, guys. Watch out.
A deer? A coyote?
It's a coyote.
That looks like an Aldi's.
It is. It was very good. Obviously, you would probably recognize that. But yeah, that was an Aldi's somewhere.
Holy cow!
It's a coyote.
Where is this at? What
I'm
part
not
of
sure.
rural America is?
Our 12th Street Aldi's.
Yeah. Patrick Debo, boy, the rats are big there.
Damn.
Oh boy. All right.
Chris Miller said it's a crazy mouse.
Ooh, yeah. Coyote ugly.
MagicCon Chicago, are you ready for Dungeons and Dragons Live? Let's meet your cast, Theo Solomon, known from Temple, The Shade of Frontiers, and
like this is a D&D. Like they're coming out to like NBA like introductions.
All they need is that fake fog.
Yeah.
He doesn't rock the sunglasses like you do, Double D.
I'm feeling more and more like Paulie in the Rocky series every year.
People dominate every sport now. Now you want to dominate D&D?
Tonight, playing as Will from Baldur's Gate 3. Deborah Wild, known for Cyberpunk, being the queen of ranch dressing, and tonight playing as Lizelle from Baldur's Gate 3.
Will Arnett doing introduction?
Samantha Bayard, known for the excavation of Hobbs Barrow, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy radio show, and tonight playing as Carla from Baldur's Gate 3. Neil Newman, known from Resident Evil Village, Detroit Become Human, and tonight playing as Astarion from Baldur's Gate 3.
Hi, folks.
Abria Iyer, your dungeon master, known for Worlds Beyond Number, Dimension 20, Critical Role, but not Baldur's Gate 3.
That's not on me.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I just somebody had a video on. I watched a little bit of it a few weeks back, and they're talking about this person solidly. And I'm like, I remembered some discussions about that, so I did a little peek, and like, she's a solid a-hole.
I guess we'll find out. Badger, $2. Number 1 in your program, 0 in your heart. Good one. Good one. Underrated comment.
By the way.
Hi everyone, how you doing?
She's big.
Hi, folks.
Let's go. That's a lot of people. There's so many people.
She's got
The
some
best part
broad
is we're just gonna do
Yeah, I was
some
gonna say, she
quick.
kinda
Like,
dwarfs
my
the
stuff
brother
wasn't
there,
set up,
didn't it?
so we're just gonna
The
spend a
other
couple seconds.
Talk
getting
amongst
ready.
yourselves.
Talk amongst yourselves.
We will.
What?
Why would you have this?
Perfect. Thank you.
Why would you have this all set up ahead of time?
Amazing. Wow, we're gonna keep doing that. You gotta stop. I cannot hear you. I can't hear you.
There's a lot of pages of stuff.
I heard my own name. I'm excited.
Okay, dispose of here. Dispose of here.
What do you need help with? Okay, since you are so nicely.
And it's begun.
Studying some weird speed dating event.
Are these all like voice actors or something?
Baldur's Gate 3 is just a dating sim with too many steps.
Yeah, Joe, not enough diversity.
Y'all put a lot of plot in how much I wanted to kiss each one of your characters. And that's the thing I had to reckon with before I walked out here.
Hey!
Hooray!
This is very early days as well.
Very early days.
We're right here. We're right here.
How are you
No
guys feeling?
comment.
You want to play some D&D?
Oh,
yeah.
hell yeah!
Well, then why don't we get this party started with a charisma saving throw? All of you right now go. I wasn't kidding.
Really?
Make a charisma saving
Wait,
throw.
so does
So
this...
we're not
does
even
this-
like gentle conversation, some cuddling.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you need foreplay? You said
little
you
bit
were
of
ready to
foreplay
play
would
D&D.
be nice.
Does this determine what level of Riz each of us has?
No, I could never do
That's an 18.
that for you.
That's an 18.
18.
17.
17.
8.
I think it's going to be you, baby girl.
Ooh. That is a critical one.
Will? The dice are lying.
Wait, let's start again.
Lying. This is the guy with a PhD in Resonomics. No.
Well, it's been an honor to serve alongside you. I feel I got to know you.
It's like people that are like paid to look like they're like. I mean, I guess that it is sort of true, but it just I don't know. It just seems like so like the fun is so like forced.
How do you? I don't know how you force fun. I've never been in that school.
I don't. I guess I don't begrudge them for just playing, but just like if you're in an audience, like I don't know.
Yeah, why'd you sign up for this?
I guess it's better than watching the paint dry or just staring at the wall. I don't know.
They're
Thank you
handing
for your
out tickets
service.
in front of the
Perfect.
vendor booth.
Well, Will.
Yeah. That tells me there's a lot of people who are
begin with
very, very happy.
You
and
are
proud
the
to be
one
there.
that convinced your friends that maybe going and picking up an odd job or two with this gang boss down in like the dusty outer skirts of Baldur's Gate probably wasn't a bad idea.
You mean slumming it? That's what servants do.
I mean, why not, Astarion? Live a little for once in your life.
I know, but these are not the incredible manicured hands of somebody who delivers stuff.
This is all very nostalgic. I have been trying to turn over a new leaf.
Right here. You know, the DM is giving this woman. You rolled the die, and you're the one that convinced that she's handing it off to this woman now, and her character to shine a little bit. That's how I'm looking at it. And Mr. Voice Actor over there, the attention whore, jumps right in and sucks it all up. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I could see that. They it's just par for the course. I don't know.
There's no decorum.
I think this thing had like 300,000 views on it.
Holy cow.
Yeah, people love this.
Tough. I still don't understand what exactly we're doing.
And there's
People are just so they don't get this kind of like they don't get like good time laughs in their real life. So they'll take it any way they can get it.
The death of creativity.
Yeah.
This is how democracy ends. With thunderous applause.
Sort of ancient-looking gnomish woman who introduced herself to you as Muffin as you came into like a little room
Mad Maggie
in the back
Muffin.
of a tavern.
It's all cutesy stuff. Ultra American for $2. I'd rather play Condor DM's game than watch this. All right. We could watch a Questing Beast interview with Mike Mearls if you want, or we could keep watching this. I'll tell you what, if you want to keep watching this, if you want to like jettison this, if you want to stop this, type 1 in the chat. Here come the ones, I bet. And then we can either watch Mearls or we can just go right to Otto. Please no Questing Beast. Well, I got news for you. I got one of the... Oh, boy. Look at that.
Those are all different people, too.
I know, yeah.
Chris Miller,
Right.
as I say that, he did it 4 times.
Yeah.
All right, somebody hacked the feed.
We dumping chump. It's a landslide, sir.
It is a landslide. All right. Never let it be said that Double D.
Do you know
doesn't
what's weird?
listen
People
to-
saw Michelle Obama. I didn't. Do you know who I saw? Leslie Jones from like, Saturday Night Live.
Yes.
Oh yeah, the Ghostbusters too.
The
new Ghostbusters
with the big teeth and not funny.
She's
very
tall,
much
isn't
not
she?
funny.
She's tall.
I think so.
Yeah.
And
Welcome back to.
I just heard in that Saturday Night Live skit with Kylo Ren, where he dressed up like undercover boss. I'm trying to eat my muffin, Craig, or whatever his name was, and I just remember-
yeah.
And when she said muffin, it just
Yeah.
that's when I went there.
Pay that man his money.
Bruce. $10. I apologize for the link earlier. No, that's all right. I believe it was Tabletop Terrors who were ghosted by Condor after the first session, and they had questions like a woman doing the walk of shame after. No problem. It was kind of interesting just to hear him just kind of like puff Condor up a little bit. Like, boy, we really like what you have to say. I think they were like baiting him.
Yeah,
Like,
or buttering him up to ask him out for a date.
yeah.
Chris Miller, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I need my muffin.
Muffin Matt.
Questing Beast, I'm Ben. This is my conversation with Mike Mearls. Mike is one of the lead designers behind 4th edition and 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. He recently moved from Wizards of the Coast over to Chaosium, so I figured that I would grill him on the many questions I have about the development and the current place where D&D 5e is at. For the most part, I was interested in seeing how D&D got into its current situation. How did one of the most popular RPG companies out there become one of the most distrusted? What caused the culture shift over at Wizards? Is D&D as popular as they like to say that it is? And how has public perception of the game evolved over time? How have the design goals from the 5.5...
You could just start with the interview, Ben. Jesus. $10. Bruce again. Thank you so much, Bruce. I guess we owe him something, do we not?
I'm looking for
Anything
some.
left? Anything left in the cupboards?
Right.
We want. All right, good enough. I remember them asking, "Where did our table go off the rails? What exactly did we do wrong, Condor?" And around 8 to 10 years ago, there's a lot of lore videos where Condor was networking with others. Do me a favor, Bruce. If you send those to me on X, I'll friend you if I'm not already friends with you. And then, like I said, we can kind of. Because I'd like to see that stuff. I'm genuinely interested. $5, our buddy Ultra American. Seems I'm now burdened by what has been and always will be. I am become death, destroyer of worlds.
I like that.
Well, nobody's... I can't think of anybody better, my friend. Badger, just sticky R member for 3 months.
Yes.
Ben does enjoy the sound of his own voice. Yep, even more so than me.
5 edition, which just came out recently, diverged from the vision of the original 5.0 version of the game. And perhaps most interestingly, what would Mike do if he woke up one day and found himself to be CEO of Hasbro and he could do whatever he liked to try and get D&D back on track again? As usual, I've put links down in the description below, including to Mike's Patreon, where he's developing his...
Jesus. I can't believe this guy is
let
like
this Mike guy
80,000.
talk about himself. Don't talk all this shit. Let it come out organically.
Let me tell you all the questions I'm going to ask him. Why don't you just chop it up and ask him the fucking questions. Let him answer and then ask him another question. Jeez. Chris Miller, $5. USAID defunded and half the woke YouTubers closed channels. Coincidence? I hadn't thought of that link, Chris. Maybe there was a little bit of that going on. Or they were just, I don't know. Look, I'll talk about it after this super chat. From Asterion Moloch, $5. What's going on, people? I'm a bit late to the party. Well, missed a couple of things, but it's okay. You're here now. That's what's important.
Welcome aboard.
Absolutely.
I mean, people are, in some respects, they are right. Like, this isn't, like, how much stuff can we, like, talk about game? That's why I do, like, some of the, like, real world stuff. Like, if this show was about nothing but, like, gaming stuff, I mean, I don't know. I'd be pulling, I don't have any hair left, really, but I'd be pulling hairs out of my ass trying to figure out what else we could do from a game point of view. Because, I mean, after a while, how many times can you say Wizards of the Coast is terrible? Wizards of the Coast done fucked up. So, yeah, I mean, I do understand in some respects why their channels have gone off the rails, because they can't talk about anything else. Like, they're all, like, video YouTubers. And by that, I mean, I don't think many of them do, like, live streams like this. They just do canned content. And they've just run out of canned content to do, which I understand.
Later, JP. Have a good night.
Oh, good night.
But, in the same respect, I mean, you could just build up an audience and just kind of bullshit with them a little bit. Like we do with you fine folks every Wednesday. But these are profoundly uncharismatic people behind it. Like, look at, like, the dungeon dudes, those two fruits. Oh my God. I'm astounded. So some of these people are as, like, popular as they are. Those guys have no charisma at all. None whatsoever. But I don't know, they must have found their audience. YouTube paired them up with their audience. So yeah, I don't know. It doesn't surprise me some of them are going away. Look, the halcyon days of gaming are over, and I will say, from a personal point of view, thank God. Because now a lot of these tourists are just going to be leaving.
Nothing is too big to die.
No.
Nothing is too big.
The, like, Stranger Things is going to come to an end, so all these little mini bursts that they get for Stranger Things, that's going to come to an end, thank God. Already it's diminishing marginal returns, as far as that goes. They get less and less with every new season of Stranger Things, even though they try to work D&D in, of course, as much as they possibly can. Yeah, so
Chris Miller says bot accounts for fans.
Yeah, I mean, towards the end, you can tell. Like, look, like, subscribers aren't everything. Like, you'll see accounts with, like, 20,000 subscribers, and then you look at their videos and it's like, oh, this video got 80 views or this video got 60 views. That's essentially a dead channel. And you can't just blame YouTube for that. You can't just sit there and blame YouTube, because, for as woke as they are behind the scenes, they will, like, take a stance on big accounts, but generally speaking, for smaller accounts, even if they are, very right of center, they don't fuck with them too much. They'll pair you up with other right of center audience members. And that's as far as you go.
New version of 5e, and to the Questing Beast Patreon, where you can get access to these videos ahead of time. You can get access to the secret Questing Beast Discord, and of course, you can help support the channel. A huge shout out to my many patrons who have helped support the channel for all of these years.
Saw him in person at Gen Con. He is a midget.
And now, here is one of the most fascinating discussions about RPGs that I've had in a very long time. What was the, like...
He's a little tyke.
Or halfling?
Squirt.
Original vision for 5e. And I guess you could talk about edition changes too, like moving from 4e to 5e, how you saw that shift changing and what the goals were.
Yeah, so, for 5e, at the time with 4e, we had lost a lot of fans. They had hopped over to Pathfinder, and so in some ways it's an easy addition change to consider because internally your sales are, at the time the sales are way down. We had missed the mark with 4E in terms of the business side of it. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Now, one of the things I want to say too is like when people get the sense of 4E, like, was it a bad game? I think 4E was a good game aimed at the wrong audience.
And I would agree with that. For a tactical combat game, I think 4E was actually pretty solid. Was it like traditional D&D? It was certainly falling away from that. Cal. Double D. Halflings are still allowed because of Ben. Point taken, my friend. Sean, $5. Tabletop gaming does include its inspirations and should always be a good source for content. Appendix N. Yes, absolutely, my friend. Thank you.
It was trying to sell to the 3.5 fan, who is probably at the end of the day someone who really wanted a very detailed system that answered a lot of questions like in a very simulation kind of way. Like, hey, what would happen if I tried climbing a wall that was covered in melted butter, right? Okay, we have a DC for that, right? Where 4E was much more coming at it from, well, what if we kind of abstracted those things out? When we talk about like the
Bruce, $5. Judging my best trait by his shoulders compared to the bureau behind him. He does look a little like the Lollipop Gang. You don't have to, you can trust these eyes because me and Mrs. D and Daughter D saw him live and in person at Growing Up Gygax at Gen Con, where he was an annoying little shit.
Oh, yes, he was that dude.
Yeah, he threw his book bag against the wall and then had his phone in it, and his phone kept going off like throughout this session with Luke Gygax.
This guy here?
Yeah.
No, the
talker
the host, Ben,
okay.
the questing beast.
The Hobbit.
Yeah, the Hobbit. He went over like 2 or 3 times, and then the third time he just picked it up and then left, and I was like, oh, boy. Just, it didn't set a very good first impression, I must say. Bruce, again, $5, MVP of the night. From this point on, all Duels for Honor will be a game of handball of Mike Mearls' 7-head. Thanks. Ouch.
Nice.
MMO influence. It's not literally like, oh, we're managing aggro and, we're on a raid and blah, blah, blah. It was much more the idea that it's like super easy to get into. And the game just really focuses on the stuff that's fun, like fighting monsters, getting treasure, speaking in funny voices, right?
That's what they were going for with 4E. Obviously, it was rejected. So from a business standpoint, it was a complete failure. But I do see that's what they were going for.
So you had that game, which tried to abstract a lot of stuff away, aimed at an audience that maybe really wanted.
Yeah, I shook his hand too, just in passing, Professor DM in the vendor hall. It was like really quick. I said, "Oh, hey, big fan." Like I didn't say who I am or anything. I doubt he even recognized me because it was just kind of like an ambush. Like, "Oh, hey, Professor DM, how you doing?" Yeah, he's pretty small too.
The opposite. They wanted stuff like very detailed,
but in a good way. Ben's like a malignant midget. Professor DM is a benign midget.
So in looking at it, we started with the very earliest steps.
Don't want to be politically
incorrect. Can we just get the 3.5 audience back? But and I think that if Pathfinder didn't exist, 5th edition probably looks a lot like a 3.5 that's been cleaned up. But because Pathfinder existed, and Pathfinder basically, they already did that. They took 3.5 and were like, well, we play the heck out of this game. I know a lot of people who were at Paizo at the time. They played a lot of D&D. They wrote a lot of D&D books. So they
those were the grossest candies ever.
So for us to come in and say, okay, we're just going to take 3.5 and clean
pure
it up.
sugar
we're
and
just
like
recreating
spongy
Pathfinder.
form.
Now we're fighting with Pathfinder for their audience.
To me, it tasted like sugar and gas.
One of the things I did, and I'm a big data nerd. I'm like, I have a background as a programmer. And I really just like this idea of trying to attack things in a very practical manner.
Well, Cyber Sloth, I got 2
okay, what if we
inches
think
on
of D&D as like a digital service? Like we just, what do our users want? When people play role-playing games, like what is it that they need to enjoy playing the game? So I went back and looked at all the historical sales numbers. And it was really interesting seeing how things had changed over the years. Where like when 3.0 launched in 2000, there was this huge surge of players coming in. And then within like a year, like I think in 2001, 2002, like that surge just went way down. And then when 3.5 came out, it didn't recapture that big peak. It did fine. Like, you could think of like in the context of the D&D business post the 3.0 launch. It's like, it's 2002. How's the business doing? Okay, well, it's down from where it was, but it's doing okay. It was still doing okay with 3.5. Like the people who bought 3.0 then didn't come back. They hadn't come back. And as you went back,
because I don't think did we even upgrade to 3.5?
No, we didn't. We really didn't. There was a lot of stuff that was coming out was accessible for just 3.0. All the other crap, but no.
To me, it seemed like a decision like people would be making nowadays. But going from 5th edition, like, do we really need to upgrade to this?
Right.
Like what's different?
Yeah, I think we went through a handful of looking through the erratas that came out before that, the 3.5 and
yes, yeah, that's correct. I do kind of remember doing that,
and it just wasn't really anything that was usable for us. That's how I remember it.
Well, just not enough changed.
Right.
Like, so we're still just kind of doing this. Like, what's different? Like, really, we're gonna buy all new rule books just for a couple of different modifiers, and I think that's kind of what the 5th edition crowd is going through right now. That's why I got a suspicion like they're not doing as good like on the actual book sales as maybe they had hoped. But they can always make it up just by getting those subscriptions to Sigil, the VTT.
Back further in time, you could see things like in the early 80s, like, TSR is selling like hundreds of thousands of copies of like these 32-page modules, and thinking, well, just like what I think happens in TTRPGs is people would look at that and go, well, that was like a different time. But like my brain was like, well, wait a sec, more people play games now than ever. And so if we could sell 100,000 copies of a 32-page module in 1983, just practically speaking, we should be able to sell a lot more, right? Like in 2012, 13, 14. Like, because just way more people are playing games. 12 million people were playing World of Warcraft. Like, where are all these people? People want role-playing games. And so we were in some ways we're forced because in the marketplace, like, okay, just revising 3.5 doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, they mentioned this yesterday. I don't know if it was on stream or after, when I was on Dunder Moose's show, but yeah, somebody said like Mike Mearls is all of a sudden discovering 1-to-1 time. Jeffro is probably out there beaming
because that's Pathfinder. But also thinking like, well, maybe 3.5 was just wrong. Like maybe 3.0 was wrong. And that was like the big turning point for me is like, yeah, maybe 3.0 was like a good idea. Like a lot of stuff worked. But maybe, and this is kind of what the conclusion we came to looking at it was, well, maybe it was just too complicated. Because the other thing going on at this time, this is like around 2010, 2011, is board games are getting more and more accessible and more and more people are getting into board games. Another kind of quiet thing people don't really think of because it just sort of happened was games like Magic the Gathering and trading card games are a lot more accessible than they used to be. If you think back when Magic first came out or in the 90s, the sets were just kind of like, here's cool cards, at least cards the designers thought were cool. But now, like, I know if we were to sit down and play some Magic, like I could just go over to a booster box, grab 6 boosters and hand them to you and say, hey, you can make a fun playable deck with these. And I'm like, right, like that will happen. Like that has been designed. The card set, the collation, the cards that are in each pack, that will happen. Like you might need some help from me, like if you haven't played before. Well, here's how to build your deck, but you're going to have a fun playable deck. You couldn't do that in 1998, even up to like 2005 with Magic. Like, you're going to get cards, but like, do they make a deck?
Oh, no.
And so thinking in that term of like, okay, how can we make this game easier to get into? And how can we focus on what gets you excited about the game? That's the other thing was thinking, 3.5, when you think of like the marketing for like a 3.5 book, it would often be like, oh, there's 100 new feats in this book. There's a new prestige class that combines the spell progression of a wizard with the spell progression of a cleric, right? And like, if you're into the game, that sounds cool. But if you're like average fantasy enjoyer, you're like, you don't know what that is. Where when you look a lot of what around, like especially the launch of 5th edition, like the launch of 5th edition was like dragons. Do you like dragons? We have a 5-headed dragon here.
Well, I think he misses the point there because I think that a lot of that stuff did sell well to players, like those splat books with like a shitload of like feats and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
But it sort of created this environment where that kind of power escalation. Like, okay, the players they're loading up with this stuff. Now as a DM, now you got to like kind of up your game, so to speak, and be like, all right, well, what can I give the villains to kind of counteract that, if we ever tussle in a combat. So it kind of created this arms race, which I don't think was just healthy overall for the game. So I think he kind of misses a little bit of the point there by saying like people didn't really like it. Well, I don't know if I agree with that.
Oh no! I know what you're saying. I agree with you. People did like it. They liked it a lot. Hey,
look, the shit ones, like the Mongoose ones, those didn't. I mean, those sold because they were some of the first ones. But after a while, people are like, "Oh, the quality of this is terrible."
It turned into a burnout. But at first, no, I think they were selling really good. We bought a bunch of them.
Oh yeah, the quintessentials.
Like, we poured so much of our budget into making this awesome piece of art of the five-headed dragon that we're going to show you everywhere. It was just like, hey, how do we speak to people who are playing World of Warcraft, who like Lord of the Rings, who like Game of Thrones, but don't know anything about this game, but do know storytelling and probably know role-playing conceptually, either because they played Skyrim or they played World of Warcraft, but don't know tabletop role-playing. And I remember this so vividly. I remember we had this meeting with the two mechanical designers on the game, Peter Lee and Rodney Thompson. And this is kind of when we decided, like, okay, we're going to make this game as streamlined as we can within the bounds of our like current audience. Because we also knew the 3.5 audience. We did have to talk to them. We couldn't just ignore them. And Peter Lee said, I'm going to paraphrase here, but it's something he said something along the lines of, if we're going to fail, let us fail by aiming to be too accessible.
One thing before you get to that,
go ahead.
I'm impressed with this guy is keeping his yap shut.
Oh, Ben, yeah.
For someone who likes to hear himself talk.
Maybe that's why he had to front load all his stuff, because he couldn't get a word in edgewise after. I didn't realize Mike Mearls was this verbose. Bruce Lombardo, again, $5. Thank you, sir. What was the best-selling 5e adventure? The adventures are what create longevity in a system. Why does everyone still run to GDQ for their own table? Yeah, to answer your question, I think it was probably Strahd, right? That had to be the top selling adventure. I would say out the longest, and at least the original one was fairly well done. Before they went in there and made all the stupid woke changes to it. But the initial one was pretty good. So I have to believe that was the best selling. And it's not like that kicked off like a new Ravenloft setting. And who knows, maybe they did a half-assed one like they always do. But not one in depth, to speak of.
Fandelver is getting some love.
Fandelver, yeah. Yeah, as far as quality goes, I've heard good things about Fandelver. That was in the box set, right, Sean? I think that was in the original box set. I think it might have even been a free download too.
And I thought, okay, that's a good way to go. So then that's where everything kind of went from there. So it was all about, so that's where things like Advantage came from, where it's like, do people really like having these giant tables of modifiers? Like, okay, watch people play. Do they enjoy using this? No. Okay, get rid of it. Put an advantage, disadvantage. A system wonk can go on all day about how the math, blah, blah, blah. Like, nobody cares. Like, I don't mean to be rude to that person, but like, people playing the game don't care. They just want to know, oh, this is harder, so now I roll 2 dice.
Okay, so this is where Mearls gets in, and he's starting to swing back now to that stupid tweet he made about math being like a gate to keep people out of the game. He must be real sensitive about this. Okay, but in the same respect, all right, so you kind of dumb down the math in 5e. After a while, what kind of audience did you get from that? And I'm not saying from a business point of view it was a failure. From a business point of view, it was a success. But what has it done to 5e? Look where we're at now. Look at the kind of audience that it brought in. This quote unquote simple game with no tables or modifiers. And by the way, I'm not huge on just like a ton of like rules bloat and tables and all that stuff. But there's nothing wrong with a little bit of it. And honestly, I don't think players ever minded a little bit of that. I don't know. I think he's coming at this from his own point of view. as part of the business side, he wants to get as many people playing as possible. I see that, but he also needs to take responsibility for the fact that I don't think the company or the game itself is in a very good place right now. It just isn't. Yeah, and Shark mentions Shadow Dark. Well, there's a reason people flock towards that, because that scratched an itch that wasn't being met by Wizards of the Coast. Snake, look at Snake Oil Sean, another 5.
Does
That's
it
so
again.
nice.
Does it again.
Give him something. Give him something. Anything.
On guard.
Yeah, there you go. That'll do. That'll do. Thank you so much. Thank you, and congratulations to all you guys.
Cock is pretty good.
All right, there you go. Even better. Even better.
Not. I have to go look at a giant table. Same thing with character classes. Like, one of the things about, like, you know, the fighter and the fighting styles it had. There's one called archery that just makes you better with a bow, because
Badger, $2. Sounds like Mike Mearls has PTSD from Gary's DMG chart. Yes. Thank you, Badger. Mercurius, thank you again. Another membership. Wow. My man, you guys are being
Very
awfully generous tonight.
Very
Thank you guys so much. You know, those.
Jesse came in, and then he's the one that got it.
Look at that.
Right.
Look at that. It's like you walk in a door and somebody just shoves like a $50 bill in your hand. Thanks for coming. You're like, whoa. Patrick Demo, $5. He also said that lore is gatekeeping women out of the hobby. Yeah, he owes my wife an apology. Yep. Lore is her favorite thing to master in a new RPG. Yes. Yeah, it was kind of odd, because when he did that whole math tweet, you know, he was kind of implying, like they all do, because it comes from such kind of an insincere place, you know, that's built on such shaky ground. He's kind of implying women are terrible at math. And like, look, I mean, men might be better statistically at math, but, you know, who cares? The math in D&D is not hard. It's all addition and subtraction. I mean, I wouldn't go into a game thinking, boy, are there any women at this table? They're not going to be able to figure out this math here. They're not going to be able to
these 2 dice and add them together.
Yeah. Boy, is she going to be capable of adding 3 to a dice roll? It wouldn't. Look, I'm about as chauvinistic as I've ever been in my life right at this moment. I would never dream that could be possible for any woman, any normal woman at all.
Right.
I mean, so why is it the quote-unquote smart people think like this? Gets the old noggin jogging.
Elevated sense of self-worth.
White savior complex. A little bit of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, why would they have to dumb it down for minorities and women unless they thought less of those people? Yeah, why would they call them orcs? Why would they want breeding parties with orcs, Chris?
In 3.5, it's like, I want to be good with a bow. I want to be a cool archer like Legolas. Okay, you need to take fighter. No, actually don't. Take cleric. Take 2 levels of cleric. Take these spells. Now take a level of fighter. Take this feat, then this feat, then this feat. Then take this spell, then take this spell. And, you know, when I spoke earlier of Magic has gotten away from that, right? Like, you know, I play Magic, I play Commander with my family. And, you know, you could just play. I want to play a giant dinosaur deck. I get the biggest dinosaurs. I get spells that say dinosaur on them, like say things like dinosaurs get haste. I jammed it into my Commander deck, and I play. And I will win often enough that I'm happy. And I will have a lot of fun just throwing dinosaurs on the table and making them stomp around. And so that was another place. Like, yeah, just give an option called archery. And it's like, I want to be a cool archer. Okay, take archery. You're a cool archer now. Congratulations, right? Like, and so that was another area. So it was all about ramping up.
Boy, he has not stopped talking at all. Nope. He has not paused one moment.
I don't ever want to play an archer ever.
I just don't know if I ever want Mike Mearls DMing me. I don't think he'll ever shut up. People are going to be afraid to ask him a question.
Reel it in, Mike. Reel it in.
Accessibility, while preserving the core experience of, like,
the other guy went to the store.
You know,
Yes.
kind of taking the lesson from 4E.
I always picture Airplane, the guy sitting next to, what's his name? Pouring the gasoline on himself.
Yep.
He's at the drive-thru at the Taco Bell right now.
And, you know, versus 3.5, and then, you know, incorporating that into 5e of like, well, people still want something that feels, they don't want it to be too abstract. You know, there's a sweet spot here. And a lot of the playtest was finding that sweet spot by just like rolling out versions of the game and seeing what people, you know, reacted to it. It
I
was
have
almost
Night
like
Below
that
Shark. Yeah.
that old Calvin and
Aboleth.
Hobbes comic strip where Calvin asks his dad, how do they figure out like the weight limit of a bridge? And his dad is like, well, they build the bridge and they put trucks across until it collapses. Then they know that's kind of what we did with 5e because we didn't have any way to model it out.
So they did something exceedingly irresponsible, pretend it's going to work,
Yeah.
and then complain about it.
Thanks, Mike. Look at this, Asterion, $20. Do we have anything left?
The gun is good. The gun is good. The penis is evil.
Penis is evil. Asterion Moloch, $20. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes. Found a game on Backer Kit called Starships and Soldiers, inspired by, Starship Troopers, Helldivers, 40K, Killzone. Okay. It could have a little... I'm surprised that genre hasn't been sort of played into a little bit more. That's kind of specific, kind of balls to the wall action. Missed the chance to back it by a day. I've been pissed about it for no late funding. Asterion? Huh. There's got to be a way you can do it afterwards.
Figure it out. Yeah,
Pathfinder did Starfinder, right?
Yeah.
See you, Chris.
Chris.
What do you have?
See you, buddy.
Put it in the chat.
Yep. Let us know. Let us know. Bruce, again. Bruce, you're being too
This
kind.
guy's
Thank you.
nailing it tonight.
Holy cow.
Here's my best DM advice for miniature users. Find a 5 and dime store. Buy all of their dinosaurs. Yeah, you'll have entertainment for years from your tattered copy of the Isle of Dread. Yeah, they even sell those in like those long tubes in like Michael's, and then like there's some like bigger size ones there.
Hobby
too. Lobby. Yeah, those kind of things. Yeah. Steak and mud. Look at this guy. He's eating. Ooh. Steak and mushrooms. Mr. Big Bucks. What'd you do?
Yeah.
Rob a bank?
Hoity-toity.
So it was kind of looking back at 3E and 4E.
Oh my
where
God.
you're trying to like gather.
Who's this guy?
I was going to say, who are you again?
Taco Bell.
Fucking mouse cock. Fucking snuck in this dude's fucking show.
Both of those audiences together. But I remember at the time, there was also talk of you trying to go even further back and grabbing the 2E and the 1E people.
I mean, a lot of it was thinking.
Oh boy!
When you saw
10 minutes.
Give him
so one
a
of the things that came up,
balloon
that was interesting to that point,
with
was
helium
thinking
before
first,
you ask him a question.
role playing is this activity that, like, you would think. Like, I think if you were to ask someone, again, this is one of the things where, sorry, just as a step back, people in the tabletop role playing game industry
Shark made a run to the
tend
border.
to think that this is a really weird business that looks like nothing else, and I think that's completely wrong. I think
He could have done it while this guy was talking.
I was going to say, yeah,
you came back, and this guy's still yapping.
Yeah,
super dumb. So if I went to, say, my wife and said, "Hey, I met someone who likes Dungeons and Dragons, and they played back in the '80s," she would probably reasonably assume that, that person must like either still like D&D, or if we were to talk to them about D&D, like your discussion would make sense. Just like if I met someone from the 80s who liked like the NFL, it's not like football has changed so much that I can't have a conversation. But what we see with D&D especially, but RPGs in general, is this like addition churn of like, to get the new audience, like there's almost like this assumption that to get the new audience, we have to piss off the current audience. Because the current audience is like broken in some way. Oh, they like this too much. They just want this or that. And I think what they're really trying to address is we have lost the ability to pick up new players. And my theory is that new players like the essence of what your thing is, and that everyone who's ever interacted with it likes that same shared essence. The details might be different, right? Meet someone who likes board games. I like Euro games. Well, I prefer deck builders, or like I liked Settlers, but now I'm not into it. Those tastes can change, but fundamentally, like those players like this style of game. And so I think what has happened with role-playing games is, like with 3rd edition, it became very technical. It became very much of getting into the weeds, the details, building a character, modeling the system.
He's you can tell he kind of downs like 3rd edition. Like, it was just so complex. It was so this, so that. Then why was Pathfinder such a huge success?
Right.
Why is Paizo to this day the only one in that sort of fantasy realm that's even on the same page as Wizards of the Coast? And they're not even close, but There's a reason for that. Man. Yeah, don't think I'm going to miss much, yeah. I didn't think I'd be disagreeing with Mike as much. And look, I don't hate Mike Mearls. I appreciate how honest he's been, like, on Twitter, but some of these conclusions, which I think are just opinions, I don't know if he's right on. Bruce again, $5. Do you know why I don't look for new players after 3 years with a table? Do you really want to teach a new person how to start an 11th level in Pathfinder? Yeah.
Edition was very much about,
thank you, Bruce,
kind of getting away from the world as a place, abstracting that away, but then really focusing on the interplay in combat. Well, here's how my character functions in combat. This monster has a healing ability. There's no narrative around it. You can describe it however you want, but it's not rooted in the world. It's rooted in the need of, hey, this is a leader type creature that needs to heal the creatures around it. And so you're kind of always taking that core and trying to yank it in a direction rather than just saying, no, the core should stay the core. Then we can put stuff around it. And, so that was also part of it, just saying there's so many people who used to play D&D. Why'd they stop? And coming to the conclusion, except the third edition, like that surge then fall, that really put me down this trail because it was just taken as gospel that, hey, third edition like blew second edition away in terms of sales. But when you looked at it, what you saw was, a lot of people from second edition hopped in, but then they just hopped right back out. And then how many people never came along because like maybe their friend tried it and said, no, it was too technical, or I just didn't like this. Okay, so me and my group, we're not even going to bother because we heard this, right? Or I bought the player's handbook and I flipped through it, but we never actually used it, things like that. And so that's what started me just thinking like, okay, what is the core? And then from a practical, point of view, like why aren't we trying to sell to anyone who's ever played this game? Like why would we be picky? And there's something that's kind of nice about the desperation of like the businesses on the verge of falling apart. Like you can do that and no one can argue against it because it's like, maybe they'd like to, maybe they don't want to do that, but like, they can't really say like, let's limit our audience. Like, no, we're not in a position, man. Like, we're starving. We can't get finicky. You might not like mustard on your sandwich, but like, it's either that you eat the sandwich of mustard or die. So, is this really where you're going to draw the line?
He's talking and he's cracking jokes which he thinks are funny, but his host either isn't listening to him or doesn't find them funny.
He's really not. I'm like, he's taking an exceedingly long time to answer a pretty simple question.
Well, and to be fair, like Ben, the questing beast, he's one of these guys who is like a void of charisma. He looks very serious all the time. All he does is he's best known for these flip throughs that people pay him to do. He got a little bit of traction in his channel, and then he's like, I'm open for business. Give me money, and I will review your game.
$400 a pop, I read.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. And the things that make you good at that, and he probably is very good at that, don't make you, I think, a good interviewer, or, in my opinion, just a very, like the kind of a person you'd want to, like have a beer with. Like when I saw him at Gen Con, he was not the kind of guy I wanted, to hang out with. He looked to be like he had a stick up his ass. So it doesn't surprise me that he's not engaging or kind of adding in or kind of knowing how to kind of redirect someone in an interview and sensing like, okay, maybe this guy's going on a little too long about this. Let's get him moving in another direction in a very nice way. I think he just asked him a question and then literally is going to wait for Mike Mearls to stop talking.
So yeah, and PX is another example of another edition to go back. Like that sold millions of copies. Where did those people go? Like,
well, I was, and I was around back then. We were all around back then, and that after that initial surge, I do remember there were some of these original OSR games. Castles and Crusades came out, in the mid 2000s, I believe. So did DCC, or maybe that was just a little bit later. I think some of them bled over to that.
We did Hackmaster.
Yeah, that was later though.
Okay.
That was, I think, that was like after 4th edition. So that was probably like in the teens. But he's talking about like this initial fall off. Well, I think the fall off was people had their 3rd edition books and just stuck with them. I think he's totally missing the point that a lot of people were like us, and we're like, oh, we didn't buy into 3.5. We bought everything we needed to because there was such a huge anticipation for third edition that everybody bought their books, and then I don't know, you were more or less taken care of.
Right.
We're on the 8th edition.
They then went to the store and came back.
The other thing you could see is I think at that time,
well done.
I know we had canceled the PDF sales.
Yeah, I remember CNC. Some people talking about it, like on
CNC Music Factory.
Yeah, everybody dance now. Yeah, I remember people were saying like, "Hey, check this out. This is a kind of a stripped down version, going kind of backwards, but you don't have THAC0 and all that stuff."
But I can't remember if we had turned it back on yet, but we did have those sales numbers, and you could see things like, hey, this rule cyclopedia, like these BX rule books, like they're selling really well compared to everything else. So there was also some hints there too, that there were people coming online and, oh, I remember this when I was a kid. That's what I'll buy.
Yeah, it's really fascinating because I remember being there when 5e came out. I'd only started playing role-playing games shortly before that. So I was there during the play tests and seeing it all get released. And what I remember is at the time, at least in the whole OSR community, it was like heralded as like the triumph of the OSR, as like the ultimate old school RPG where it's like, we've won, this whole attitude, which is really funny when you compare it to now when it's just like, 5e, that's just for the normies.
Yeah, Sean, we were talking, actually, we for a while, we fooled around with I think it was the advanced version of that game, the non-joke version.
Got to go back to the OSR.
So just for a
brief, this really funny shift in culture. I don't know if you had any comments on just like the way that the culture has shifted in the 5e.
He's got a comment. Trust me.
Yeah, no, I think that's super interesting because I think that is like, if I was in charge of D&D, I'd be so worried about that because, yeah, you're right. Like when the game came out, people were really excited. There's a lot of energy around it. It's the OSR 1. And in some ways, yeah, because we were getting back to like the core of the game. But I also saw like third edition fans coming back and playing. And, I think if you like fourth edition, unfortunately, it's like, like I just wish we had done that game in addition to doing 3.5 because it just got a different audience that it's like at the end of the day, like, no, people do kind of want enough simulation in the world. They don't want to have that purely abstracted away. So I think that was probably like the one group that was like, oh, okay, this isn't what I wanted. We did keep the fourth edition digital tools going. And that was specifically, I remember, and I know I get a lot of heat for like, as the guy who killed fourth edition, but man, I was the one who said, no, like keep the fourth edition tools running, keep them online for as long as we can, because that's an audience that I just don't think is going to be happy with this game. And that was, we knew that. So, but yeah, I think it was kind of everyone kind of this idea of the edition wars ending, the tribe coming back together. But I think what has happened over time is, so I have this theory. I have said it on a couple other shows, but I'm just doing a quick recap of it.
I feel like doing that Monty Python. Get on with it.
Role-playing games, the users are experts. They know the stuff inside and out. They know exactly what they want, and they have very specific needs. And if you miss even just by a little, they just don't have any use for your project, for your product. Maybe like 20 years ago that wasn't the case, but nowadays there's so much stuff out there that you can find what you want. And so the decision maker has to be very close to the user. You've got to know that user inside and out, and you've got to have like telemetry, like constantly seeing what's changing. And what I think happened was, because D&D is owned by Hasbro, it's a giant corporation, that as D&D became more important at Hasbro, that distance increased. And now it's like, okay, who's deciding what happens with D&D? Probably someone who doesn't play the TTRPG, probably someone who's looking at a spreadsheet, probably someone who's looking at like digital, like, oh, what's the traffic like at D&D Beyond? Are more people coming or less people coming? More people are coming. The business is doing well, like things like that. Well, maybe who knows why they're coming? Does it actually reflect the product? I mean, who knows?
Is he basically saying the D&D is shit now because that's the design philosophy behind it?
Sounds like
it kind of sounds like he's admitting that, which it wouldn't surprise me after the way they did him dirty at Wizards of the Coast. Still, to hear someone like him kind of say this.
And so I think what's happened is, and I think you've seen this broadly across gaming in general. I think 2020 and the pandemic was this inflection point. All these new people are coming into gaming. At the same time, everyone's now working remotely. Everything is churning and changing. And I think what happened was there was a lot of thinking in a lot of products that was based on taking trends from the summer of 2020 in terms of what people were doing, how they were consuming media, and just extending those out to infinity, and assuming that's the new.
Warren Johnson, $5 Canadian. You find yourself trapped in a monologue by the village mayor. The longer he talks, the drowsier you get. Roll a wisdom saving throw. Unfortunately, this is the last bullet in my gun for the night. So once we do this for a couple more minutes, we'll do a tiny bit of O&R.
And that is obviously not what happened, because there's been the game industry has just been massacred the past few years. Massive layoffs, massively funded games completely flopping. And I think what has happened is that there were a lot of bets placed in 2020. I mean, Ray Winnegar, who was the executive producer on the game at the time,
also got shit canned for the Spelljammer monkey, the Hidozi thing.
And went on N-World and described
it. He was the sacrificial lamb for that, I'm pretty sure.
So, 2020 is when they were told to start work on the new edition. And it was not necessarily based on, gamers want this, players want this, our customers want this. It was very much like, no, the company wants this for a lot of reasons. He didn't go into too many details. I have some suspicions, but I do have an NDA, so I can't just be like, here's what happened. But but just the fact that he's talked about it in public, and no one is like, oh, that's bizarre, Ray. Like, people were like, oh, wow, that's interesting to hear.
Makes sense.
And so I think the business started saying, here's where you need to go. Here's where we think things are going to be. And I think that was driven a lot by thinking games will be more online. I think there might be some elements of people want more tactical combat. Like if you look at the current, I call it 5.5. That's also really telling. We don't know what to call it. Wizards doesn't have a name for it. So I'm going to call it 5.5. It's a lot more tactical combat focused from my experience running it. A lot more round to round decisions, a lot more. Well, this is, I'll give you an example. Like if you're playing a barbarian, you have these energy types that
Lord,
you're immune to, but now there's a lot more energy types attached to attack. So if a creature hits you, it's like, well, it does 5 slashing and 5 fire. Okay, so I have to figure out I'm going to have 5. Where, in 5.0 or 5e, it would have just been 14 slashing. I just cut that damage in half because I'm a barbarian. And I get it game design wise where they're trying to do that, but to me that's very system and math focused. It's not user focused. It's not like, hey,
D&D like 5.5. It's like the. Remember, you always had the rich friend who always had the most up to date video game system and all that stuff. There came a point in your life where that person had no more value, especially if they were. Other than that, they had no use. I mean, they weren't actually very nice or anything like that. That's what D&D has become now. They become like that kid who used to have all the cool toys. And now it's like you're older and you don't care anymore, or you can get your own toys because you've already got a job, and he's trying to say, hey, everybody, who wants to come over to the house and play my Atari?
Which is right above him.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There we go.
Is this fun to play? Is this tapping into that core experience that has always been there for TTRPGs and D&D, which is, hey, I'm in a world that's immersive, but this is interesting. The player, I'm kind of zeroed on that one because that's a case of the players thinking, hey, I'm a barbarian, I'm going to rage, I'm super tough, and I'm hard to hurt. Except now I'm kind of not.
Did I do that?
And rather than just doing the simple
That's what that guy's thinking when he asked him a
14
question.
damage. Well, okay, 4 from this, but 8 from that, or whatever it is. So actually 12. You go from being the barbarian to being the person playing the game, trying to do the math in your head. And I think that is the big shift.
Starting to see why Wizards of the Coast shunted this guy off. Yeah. Probably do we have who's in my meeting today? Oh, you got one with Mearls. Oh boy.
Cleared off the rest of the day.
Yeah. Clear my schedule.
Of what has undergone with D&D is it's gotten a lot more technical, and it's gotten a lot more focused on the rules.
So back to third edition
legalist.
Is what you're saying. They went from 5.5, now they're back to third edition. The endless wheel keeps on turning.
Not alone.
This works because
I didn't even remember Ben was the one interviewing.
Rather than this works because the people at the table are like, oh, this is our flow. Advantage, disadvantage. The math might not be the best math you could ever have for a system, but it's awesome math for playing at the table. I feel like that meeting I described, with Peter Lee of saying, let's err on the side of accessibility. I think that fundamentally has been what has been lost. And the act of playing 5e was much more the act of playing a role-playing game. Just a general role-playing game. The act of playing 5.5 is the act of playing 5.5. a lot more like 3.5 or 4th edition, where it's like, no, you're spending a lot of time manipulating the system and thinking about the system and interacting with the rules rather than interacting with the person across the table and thinking, hey, we're just immersed in this story and what's going to happen. And the things that happen seem to flow from that narrative rather than flowing from the rules. And it's subtle. It's not like someone went through and like rewrote the game as like full on 3.5. But to me, just in running,
this is someone who's used to just being able to talk as long as he wants to talk.
All I'm hearing right now, honestly, I am so lost. All I hear is words. I thought I had some ideas about a few things he said a little bit ago, but I'm second guessing all that. All I hear is words.
At the end of the day, some of these people are they are just like role playing nerds. Like we would always joke about, we don't want to hear about your character. Remember, like the joke, like, don't tell me about your favorite character.
Don't be a flubber.
Yeah. I don't want to see you in the store and then you learn I play D&D and then all of a sudden it's Edina of Neath and I've got, a half hour of you just following me around. Like that's who Mike Mearls is, sort of. I mean, he's a little bit more intelligent, but good Lord. Where's the internal clock where you know that you're speaking to people?
Reading it, playing it, there's enough static there now where
this is, I'm not a big fan of interviewers interjecting a lot, but when somebody's rambling like this, you gotta bring them back.
Yeah, reel them in.
Come on, Ben.
Round by round, it's another example. Like if you were a fighter, your weapons now
another
have
example.
All
Oh boy.
Oh, good Lord. This may be the
we kind of got it, dude.
This may be the kill shot here.
Flourishes.
Don't remember what the
So
question
if
is.
I tried making a dwarf with a hammer.
You did good.
I just want a big hammer and bash people. Well, the hammer now knocks people back. They move away from you. And I was just thinking, like, well, I don't want my character to do that because my character is just this big violent dwarf with a hammer. Like, why would I want to knock people away? I want them to stay close so I can bash them over the head again. Just simple things like that. But that's not coming from my character. That's coming from someone added this descriptor to the Warhammer just mechanically, and you could even argue, like, does that make sense? Like, I could argue if I bash you in the knee with my Warhammer now, you can't move away, right? Like, and things like that. And it's getting away from that sense of I kind of described earlier. I want to play an awesome archer. What do I do? Pick the archer option. Okay. Now it's like, I want to play awesome hammer guy. What do I do? Well, you need to take like the farmer background because the farmer background gives you this feat and it gives you the stat. But okay, so now my character's a farmer.
I almost want to just watch now just to see how long he goes.
Well, dwarves aren't really miners now because we're kind of deciding that you're.
I do owe an apology to Ben. I do understand now why he talks so much up front when he cut this interview together.
Absolutely.
Race is no longer your culture, which
My
makes
bad, Ben.
sense. But now it's like, to be a cool dwarf fighter, I have to be a dwarf farmer, and I always would kind of think
what's up with that? Bruce Lombardo. Again, $5. He is relentless today. He is relentless.
He won some money to Scratchers.
Yeah, he must have. We are the beneficiaries of his largesse in the Munchkin card game. If you find that level 10 vampire and he beats you, he locks you in the room with him to tell you about his character.
That's funny.
Yep. Again, this is Mike. Mike Mearls is that vampire. Yeah, I thank you for the extra $2, but I think we all could have come to that conclusion, Bruce.
Or would be a smith, just things like that, where it's like, okay, now again, the system is saying, no, I want you to snap to my grid. Where I think fundamentally 5e tried to say 5e will snap to your grid. The fact the 5.5 rules don't have rules for making your own monsters.
Is it just? I mean,
to me, that's the most telling thing. It's.
Wouldn't you start becoming self-conscious if you were talking this long? Isn't that what normal people do? Crazymouse,
do that.
You're the most normal person I know.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that compliment. I would
It
think
is.
that there does come a point where I would be like, my God, I feel like I'm hogging this whole conversation.
Yeah, normal people are just kind of like, well, wait a minute, I've been talking so long. Shouldn't the other person be asking me something or interjecting or something?
This guy doesn't self-reflect at all.
No,
he's not self-aware.
No,
That's a great description.
Yeah,
he's not self-aware.
Yeah. Again, comes down to being I think a gamer nerd in many respects. As good as he is at design, and he let's face it, he is talented. And also, let me be clear, generally speaking, I like Mike Mearls online.
Sounds like a nice guy.
Yeah,
and he's very passionate about what he talks about.
But boy,
But he just talks a lot
He
about
needs
it.
an editor.
His internal dialogue is probably a nightmare. It just
It's
doesn't
like a
end.
wall of text that just
Yeah.
keeps like scrolling.
And it'd be like one long paragraph.
Yeah, no breaks in it at all. No, just
Like, no, they expect you to buy their
We'll
monsters.
go a little
like
bit
they
longer and
don't
then pull the
want to give you that math, and it's just bizarre, right? Because like half the fun of like when I prep my games is like, I ran my game. I've been running some playtesting a game we're working on, but last time I ran 5.5, it's like, oh cool, I'm gonna do this. I did this giant what was it? Oh, this giant toad monster.
Come on.
Right. And like, obviously 5.5 doesn't have rules, but I know enough of the system to do it
Toad
myself.
monster.
But like a lot of the fun was, it's this weird giant toad monster and it's not like anything we fought before. And to me it's just kind of missing the point. Well, why can't it do this? Well, because the system
Micro Machine guy
is making the system has decided this is how it's going to be, not you. And to me that is, I think that's like the big vibe killer right now for D&D is, and I think to get like super high level, I think it goes back to like the OGL thing where it's like the OGL was Wizards fundamentally saying, we don't want you making content. We want you buying
If you
content.
ever see this, Mike, we like you, but just take this as a little bit of constructive criticism. Just when you're talking this much, let the alarm go off in your head and be like, "Oops, am I going on a little bit too long?"
Because when you make content, you're not
He
buying
needs
our
an
content.
orchestra
So we want
for
a
like the
slice
Oscars.
Yeah, somebody's got to play him off of his question.
of the money. We want you to maybe come through our digital platforms and so on. And I think that, and I know people are very quick. Well, what percentage of people heard about the OGL? Well, what percentage of highly engaged dungeon masters heard about the OGL? Because they're the only ones that count. You can love D&D all you want, but if you're not a dungeon master, you're not playing the game. You need that DM.
We understand.
And DMing is
certainly.
hard. I
We
mean, DMing, that
understand.
is my biggest regret as, working on 5e, leading it. We made it way too hard on DMs, and I think that also is like one of the big things you're seeing now is, it is really hard to DM. And the new edition has made it harder. Like,
You got
it's
some
just
homework there
harder.
from Overkill.
And so
Well,
that
that
to me is
truth
like
right
one
there,
of
I
the big
understand.
things.
I
And like,
got
the
that
OSR is a good example because it's so DIY. But I think that's just a common thing with role-playing games. Like, everyone loves to hack games. And the games, to me, that seem to be doing well, like I'd say the similar thing about like Apocalypse World, powered by the Apocalypse. Like, it's super hackable. Like, if that is the style of game you want, there's a bunch of games, and it's super easy to make your own game.
Well, it's a very good term for Powered by the Apocalypse, hackable, because that's all who does like systems based off it are these hacks, like the Thirsty Sword Lesbians, games like that. Now it's just become like, well, I just want to interject all my little personal politics into a game. What's the easiest way I can do that with the minimal effort? Oh, I'll use Powered by the Apocalypse because I just run the same generic rule system, and it's a super, super simple. So it's become the domain of lazy designers, like Matt Colville, whose new game is essentially just a jumped up version of Powered by the Apocalypse.
Double zeros, baby.
Yeah.
Like, you're spending more time thinking about your gameplay and your world and less wrestling with the system where it's like,
He's
no,
still
Hammer
going.
Guy is not like, there is no Hammer Guy. It's like, if you want to play the dwarf of the Warhammer, you got to be a dwarf farmer who pushes people away from you. Like, that's not what I want.
There's no edits here either.
Dwarf
Like,
blacksmith with just
he's not like
warrior
editing
bashing
this
guys
together.
over the
He's
head.
still on the
Like,
same
nope,
roll.
The system says I can't because someone's decided this is how it plays.
So, like, why do you think that
No.
the rules kind of focus shifted in that direction? I guess like people
what a
today
bad-
say that was like
what a bad idea
original
that
5e
was.
was more.
He asked, "Why do you think?"
diegetic, more in-world decision making, whereas now it's kind of
5 more
moved into
minutes,
more
then we'll
abstract,
stop.
non-diegetic, where it's all about manipulating rules. Is that something that just happens to systems over time, where they just like, in order to expand them or to make them more appealing to a bigger audience, you just add more crunch as just a way to extend them, or do you think that there's other motivations there?
Oh, I think there's a lot of factors there. I think one of the simple ones, like, because I think you do see this. This is the general trend in role-playing games and in video.
I like he's about to go. So I think, and then he goes off to the side, and that side never goes back to why he was going to say I think.
Bruce for 5 again. Today I discovered what it would be like if Tim Waltz was a gamer. And the host returns to the video from his long rest. Exactly. Thank you, Bruce, again, for everything you've given tonight. All you guys super chatting, thank you so much. Much appreciated. Warren Johnson, $2 Canadian. Quick. Someone cast vicious mockery.
Video games. Systems grow more complicated.
There we
used
go.
to call it grog
Way to bring it back.
the idea that the
and
game,
bats.
by like version 3 of your game, like either part 3 of the the game comes out, part 2, part 3. By part 3 or like the 3rd edition of the game, you are now the people making the game are people who played the game, who are excited by the game itself rather than that entry step. So you could think of 3rd edition as like, hey, this is really great if you already know D&D and just really wish you could spend hours making characters and monsters, within this system. But if you were outside of D&D, there wasn't a good on-ramp because you just want that core activity.
I think he's missing the mark on that.
I do too. The 3rd edition brought in a lot of new people from what I remember. I remember there was a lot of hype around, like there were, want to say there was like back then, of course, it would have been like magazine articles about, this new edition of D&D is bringing in all these, players who never played before, plus of course like some lapsed players. But I think he's kind of viewing this like you said, Rogan, through, I don't know what to say, rose-colored glasses. Maybe.
Jaded.
Yeah, he's a little jaded, maybe.
I remember getting involved in 3E with you guys. Never had the opportunity to play any other edition. It was exciting for me. Often for me, it's not the machine or the engine. It's I get to role play with my friends. I get to use my imagination, and the mechanics about it. We figure that out.
Yeah, the whole thing about it takes hours to create a 3rd edition character. No, it doesn't.
It was easy.
Like, I mean, just
takes hours for this guy to answer a question. That is
yes,
true.
that
He
is
could have
true.
cooked a whole meal in a crock pot.
We're talking like a big pork roast too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole thing. Oh, it takes hours. I mean, all right, come on. I mean, it wasn't that bad. I mean, there was a few more things. And look, I don't think 3rd edition was perfect either. But I don't know. I don't think it was what he's saying it was.
And so I think there is this natural tendency, like, hey, you worked on the game for a while. What's interesting to you drifts from what's interesting to, especially the new player.
Amateur psychology
or the person
going
who's
on
looking
here.
for something more immersive. There's something that rests outside of the system.
Right here.
I also think just institutionally, like, there's this great video I watched.
Sometimes when you look up,
I can't remember.
you're searching for the answers.
Yeah.
I don't think he's searching for answers because he has them. He just needs to know how to condense them.
Yeah.
He needs to stay on one line. Stick with the line. You're about to say something, and then you jump off to the side, and then you continue with that, and not go with like, what your initial thought was.
His teacher must be. Think about like him in grade school. I want you to write like a 1-page essay on the cotton gin. He turned it in 55 pages long.
Yeah. It's more than I was asking for, Mike.
This kind of reminds me, unfortunately, of having a conversation with my wife. She has something to say. It goes off the rails, and I'm waiting for her to go back on the rails. 20 minutes later, I have no idea what she was originally talking about, and she's pissed off at me for not understanding.
Yeah, it's you and every other 75%.
Am I wrong?
Out there, yeah. Craig Bragg, $5 Canadian. I'm gonna make a white noise generator that's just Mike Mearls talking. Suck it, CSIS. You ain't listening in on me. I applaud you, sir. Yeah, I may do that to fall asleep to tonight. I'll just throw this back on. North of the Rockies, $10. Anything left in the cupboard? Anything at all? Anything? Ooh, yeah, there is. Absolutely. North of the Rockies, $10. Good to see you. What was the name of that comedy where one of the characters was talking so much that the person he was talking to hanged himself? Going out of my mind, trying to think of it now. I was thinking of Airplane. Like, I think, like, wasn't he threatening to hang himself?
Better Off Dead. He wanted to hang himself at the dinner table.
Yeah, that's right. I just know in it was a gag in Airplane. Like Ted Stryker was talking to the person next to him and was going on like this so much. The one guy was threatening to set himself on fire. I thought one was, if I'm thinking right, was threatening to hang themselves or something maybe. Yeah, it was Airplane. Okay. Must have been on the, yeah, that's, we're thinking along the same lines. north of the Rockies.
Wrote this, kind of had this observation, but when you arrange a team to build something,
last minute,
you're deciding what you're going to build. Like, hey, I'm going to do a role-playing game. Okay, I want a system balance team. Okay, just the fact that I said that means my system's going to really focus on balance. It's going to be very crunchy because I have a team working on that. So even though I don't know what the exact endpoint of this game looks like, I already kind of decided the box that it's going to fit in. So I think that's also part of it. You just naturally have a team that's set up to like make subclasses. They're going to make more subclasses. They're going to think, how do we make more subclasses? Well, what if we put features onto weapons now? That'll give us more things to put in subclasses.
This is enough. All right, we're done with this guy.
What happened was there was too many choices.
Yep, we're done.
We done. We done.
How do I clean that out of my ears?
Oh, well, there we go. I didn't realize I'd have to pull break the emergency glass of Mike Mearls at the end. I guess I'm glad I did. Now we see how verbose he is.
He's passionate about what he talks about. That's no doubt about it.
If he could just stay on track.
Does he say anything, though? He says a little bit. I think some of the stuff, surprisingly, was wrong. Like flat out, like I'm like, no, like you're misremembering that. Like, I know he was around on the Eric Noah boards too. It's like, I can't believe he doesn't remember some of this stuff the way I think it was.
He made a comment about Magic the Gathering. I protest on that one. I worked at a comic book store that did gaming, did cards, for quite a while, and I was there when the first decks came out, the first boxes came out, the next expansion, the next expansion. It was like, a handful of expansions up to Ice Age. I remember vividly, where like we would have these little mini contests inside there. We get 20 or 30 people in the store, open deck, pay so much money, everyone buys a bunch of packs at random, and then you build a deck. And I saw some really amazing quick deck builds that were like, 5 turns and the other guy was out. Some really cool stuff like that. So I disagree with what he was saying in regards to that.
Yeah, you have a different
and that was,
perspective.
That early on, that was
being in a store back then.
Right.
See you, Bruce. Thank you so much for all the super chats.
Thank you for everything tonight.
Yep. All right, we'll just do a little bit of O&R, and then we'll get you guys out of here.
We're going to recap that conversation with Mike Mearls.
yes. So those of you that don't want to hang around for O&R, that's fine.
That's mean.
We'll just talk to you guys later on. I'm due for a video. I've kind of vacillated on what to do, so we'll see.
Take care, Shark.
Yep. Take care, Shark. Good to see you guys. Yeah. And like I said, we'll talk soon.
Don't forget to hit that like button.
Yeah, on your way out, hit that like button.
Please do.
Yeah, please do that. Let's see, get some last one here while the boys are getting ready just a little bit. Ooh, Mac Thompson. Once I owned 5 Black Lotuses for my Sinkhole Dingus egg deck.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice. I don't know what any of that means. I feel like that scene in Napoleon Dynamite. I don't have any idea what you just said. I am a complete and utter ignoramus when it comes to magic stuff. Yep. Well, thank you. Thank you. We got a little bonus time here. Not too long, but we will send the guys out. All right. Tell you what, we'll head over. And the rest of you guys who are dipping out now, take care. We'll talk soon.
Have a good night.
Thanks for joining us.
But for you people, I like you. I like you people. I like you. Don't tell the other people I said this, but I like you guys better than... No, I don't. No, I don't. You know what I was thinking? It'll be like a trip down memory lane. Watch the screen, guys.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Look who's at the end of the line.
Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
We kick it off with Ellen Page and we end it with
Hey now. Hey now.
poor Roland.
Yep. Let's see. Bernard is still around. As we know, we presume Roland is gone. We know Tharn is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Soraya's still out there.
She still is.
With her starting up her OnlyFans business.
She has plenty of money. She shouldn't have to.
Yeah. You guys were taking that dotted path on 4 there. That was Westkeep, town with the big tower.
Mm-hmm.
You went through the woods. A troll tried to attack you, looking for a free late-night meal. You guys were like Taco Bell. You were like a mobile Taco Bell running through,
We were that
through the
night.
woods. Yeah. He's just like, I'm going to go grab a snack. But you guys fought him off.
Hey, look, food truck.
Yep. Food truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you guys did the right thing, too, by just letting him go and just moving on.
We ran him over at the end.
Yep. Yeah, you did. All right. Well, guess what? Guess what happens?
We were Meals on Wheels.
Meals on Wheels. All right, so you guys end up going through the night.
Had my top surgery.
You must be so happy now. I mean,
liberated.
Yeah, you're liberated.
Got rid of those memories.
I love when they show her now. They'll show like a picture of her from before. She'll just look like, like all happy. Then they show what you see on screen there. She's all mopey.
Chuck wagon.
Chuck wagon.
That's
Chuck
funny.
wagon.
Cowboy Kent Rollins, if anybody watches those cooking shows.
Oops. We got here. This guy falling. He's falling.
Get away from the ledge.
No. All right. So you travel all day through the night. You make good speed on the trail. You don't have any other encounters. And finally, as we'll say in the mid to late morning.
Hell yeah, snake oil.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
He watches the same cooking show I do.
You see coming out of the woods, the dark wood forest, Tyrus, a.k.a. What's his name? Gary Shandling there. He says, "Here we are." This is Eastdale. This will be he says this will be our jumping off point for going to the city, which he has a map of, the city of the Archons, where supposedly there is treasure. We'll see. You see gates in front of you. You haven't seen like a lot of traffic, in the woods. Maybe like a couple of riders like through the night, just kind of passing you at a high gallop. Tyrus says, "Be warned, the Church of St. Yeg is in charge of the security of this town too. The gates are open. You know, Aurora kind of stretches and says, well, I could use a bath. You know, she kind of chuckles, if I'm ever going to, you know, find one here. Tyrus says, unfortunately, I've only heard of this place. I've never been here. So when you look into the city, don't be deceived by the map. It's kind of a simplification to kind of give you the right idea. Because this is a little town of probably maybe like a couple thousand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but you kind of see the high points here. And if you see that one as you're pulling in right there on the map, kind of in the center, that appears to be the town inn. But you look over to the right, and there's a huge church, which you recognize immediately as the Temple of St. Yig, you know, just by its kind of architecture. And you're seeing people walk in front of you in the vestments of St. Yig. You see people on horseback, you know, riding by you. There's people selling things out in that central area, right in the middle there, 11. And there's also a domed structure over off to your left. Other than that, it's it just might be. It just might be, Ryan. Shh.
A Thunderdome.
Yep. Death is waiting. Take the first man who screams. What do you want to do?
Head toward the end, right?
Yeah.
Well, you see the sign above is clear as day. It's called the Saucy Tart.
Wow. Close to my heart. That Saucy Tart.
Mm-hmm. All right. When you go in, it is morning. There's some people there having breakfast, including, you would guess, you would take them as men-at-arms, adventurers. You know, Tyrus says, we're going to need to have a discussion now. So I don't know if you want to do it now or in a little bit. You know, maybe we clean ourselves up. But he says we'll need to talk about the next step.
All right.
We have to stay one step ahead of that other party.
Yeah, and he says I can make some discreet inquiries right now to see if you ask here, and I'll kind of go in the market. And he kind of gives you a description of Brute Dan, and says ask if anybody fitting that description may have been here. You know, he's like, I'll do my best too. So he says I'll let you check us in, and I'll go to get the lay of the town, so to speak. With that, he goes out the door. Inside, you see a pretty nice, you know, little cute young barmaid behind the bar. You do see an older guy kind of like walking around, wiping things down. She kind of sees you as newcomers, and she smiles and says, "Oh, come on over, come on over. Would you prefer a glass of apple cider?"
For you have it at honey milk.
She says, "We don't have any right now." She says, "Actually, but
I'll take some apple cider."
Yeah, cider sounds fine.
Yeah. She says, just so you know, the red laws lift at nightfall and go till midnight.
All right.
She says, then we're allowed to serve. And she points behind her where you see, and you can almost smell some ale. You see some bottles of some casks of wine too behind. Maybe your tongues are salivating for it.
A big flagon of ale would would be remarkable.
A priest comes over. He looks kind of like a young, like kind of whippersnapper priest.
Oh.
He comes over, and puts his hands on his hips and says, "Not sure if you realize this. You seem to be new in town, but no alcohol before sundown." And
that's what the barmaid was just telling
she
us.
says, I told him. He's like, "Well, I just don't want there to be any problem." He said, "Blessings of Saint Yig upon you."
Thank you. And you as well.
With that, he goes over and sits down. But he's got his eye on you. There's also a fair number of like men at arms. Like I said, unless you miss your mark, these are adventurous folk inside this place. You hear the the quiet din of conversation. Nobody's real loud, obviously it being kind of late morning. And, the barmaid says, "By the way, I'm Sky. Will you be wanting any breakfast? I saw you had another member."
Yeah, that's a good idea, isn't that?
It is a good idea.
Aurora says, "I would love a bath." And she says, Sky says, "Unfortunately, no bath here." She says, "But there is a place, that has a tub that, they will fill for a price." And she says, "That'll be fine." She's like, I'll do that." So she says, "Where is that now?" Sky gives her the direction, and she says, "Don't worry." She's like, "I think I can handle myself."
Okay.
She says, "This looks fairly civilized." And Sky even says, "Oh, yes, we're very civilized here. Hardly any crime here." Okay. So she waves goodbye and says, "I'll be back for my breakfast." So it's just you two staring at each other.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about all this?
I think that we'll only be here for a short time, that he's going to find that they're ahead of us. We need to be ahead of them.
Right.
So I think probably the baths, refuel, get the horses watered, and we're probably not going to be staying.
Oh, not okay. All right. You do. I don't think we've talked about this a whole lot. I'm going to make the assumption that you're already aware of this. In my opinion, we are probably going to have to kill these people.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I know you're no stranger to that, but
we'll have to do what needs to be done.
Okay. All right. I mean, you're not a stranger. I know you're obviously not a stranger to that. So
this is a God-fearing town, Snake Oil Sean.
Mm-hmm.
God-fearing people. You see someone who looks like that. Look at the finger gesture there. I just noticed that. He's doing the old Elric thing from the Deities and Demigods. He's kind of sitting by himself with his bouffant hairdo. just kind of looking you up and down. You're also getting some looks from just some of the I don't want to say like the riffraff, but just kind of the sword arms, I guess I would call them. Just kind of like looking at you, maybe sizing you up. Are you competition? Are you the enemy? Are they somebody that they have to worry about? Hey, BLG. What's up, boys? Good to see you.
I care little for that. I can hold my own. Yeah. I don't worry about these people.
Sky says, "You can have that table over there." Somebody gets up. She's like, "Why don't you go and sit over there?"
All right.
As soon as you do, kind of a big dude from one of the tables comes over. There's a couple of empty chairs, at your table, obviously for Tyrus and Aurora when she comes back. But this guy takes one of them. He's about your size, right. Rorik.
All right. As soon as he grabs it and turns around, I will gently put my hand on the chair and give it a little tug. And I'll say, "Excuse me, you're taking what's not yours to take."
He puts a $5, like like a big gold piece on the table.
Now you appear to have lost something. You should take that as well, but not the chair.
And he puts his arm on the table. He says, "Are you man enough?" He wants to arm wrestle you, dude.
Arm wrestle me.
Hmm.
Oh, for a chair? All right.
No, I think he just wants to arm wrestle for money.
Oh.
That's why he put the gold piece down.
Well, I guess a wise person once told me, if you're good at something, never do it for free.
If you're good at something, never do it for
and
free.
I said, I tell you what, why don't you put the chair back and I'll sit down on it. And you can sit over there, sit on the chair, and we'll give it a go.
He's like, however you want to do it, friend. I'm just looking to make some easy money.
All right.
All right, so you get it all set up. You want to do this?
Sure.
Well, this ought to be good.
Strength check. Remember, we want low.
Right.
All right. What'd you get?
I got an 11.
What is your strength?
14. I got a +1 modifier.
Yep. All right. You're lower than him. Remember in this game, when
Right.
you do a ability check, you want it lower. You want to roll under your traditional ability score. Yeah. He thinks he has you, and at first, he's maybe got you a little bit.
Right.
And then all of a sudden,
You turn your hat around like
yeah,
Sly.
like Stallone and over the top, yeah. And boom, before you know it, like you're getting the leverage on him. By now, some of his mates and some of the other people are kind of paying attention. Before you know, you got like a little crowd around you.
Right.
This is like say. Oh, Mac and Jack.
Yeah, yeah. There's like a point where he's like, trying to make one last comeback, and then you just you go over the top.
Over the top.
Over the top.
I try my best not to make it look easy.
Yeah. Sorry. Everybody kind of cheers at once. It is kind of like a little bit of a movie. Like, everybody like laughs. He just kind of looks at you and says, and he extends his hand towards you.
I'll shake it.
Yeah.
I'll take his hand.
He says, you got to do something in this town before sundown for entertainment. It's kind of boring here.
Well, let me do you a favor. I take the coin, I give it to him, and says, when it's time, go buy yourself a real drink.
He says, nah. He pushes it back. He's like, I don't need charity, brother.
It's not charity. No,
He's like, you take that.
I enjoyed this.
He's like, you're going to need it when we go double or nothing. He says, I'm Marcellus.
Marcellus is good to meet you. I'm Rourke.
And I'm
the Hammer.
And I'm Ellen Page.
Who's your girlfriend there?
Oh, you just passed that one line I hope he wouldn't pass. Marcellus?
Yeah. You sure are pretty.
I'm not. I used to fill out a bra myself.
Yeah. I used to be a girl, but
don't dead name me.
Yeah, don't dead name me. All right. With that, Tyrus comes back, and he says, sounds like I missed something. This is just as the buzz is just coming to an end, from the arm wrestling match. But he sits down. He says, I have a couple of people who think that they have seen Brute Dan just ahead of us.
Okay.
Like maybe
By
they
like
left.
a day? Oh, so
Yeah.
they were just here.
Yeah. So we might not be too far behind them. He's like, still, we do need a little bit of rest, and we need to talk. Do we need anybody? He says, as you can tell, from my frame, my adventuring days are long behind me.
Why don't we take Marcellus?
Sure. Maybe he might want to bring his whole crew.
How many is in his crew? That'd be something to find out.
I don't know.
Marcellus, how many people do you adventure with?
He turns around. He says, "Oh, we're just on the caravan, on caravan duty." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I roll with the same boys." And sorry, a moment. It's my old eyes. He says we usually run the caravan, up to Threshold, which is like you've kind of heard is like a northern city, an actual city that's kind of been sacked. Tyrus has just mentioned it a couple of times. He says that's why you're here, isn't it? Tyrus kind of goes a little quiet and says, maybe we shouldn't announce where we're going.
Right.
Marcellus again says, well, isn't that where you're going, up to Threshold, running the route?
Marcellus, how about you find your best man and join our party?
He's like, oh, well, I already got somebody who pays pretty regularly. Who do you guys got?
I would just look over at Tyrus. Like that's who pays us.
He's like, okay, he's being just kind of like open about it. He's like, what do you run up to Threshold? Building supplies, food,
whatever's on the invoice.
Yeah. Tyrus says, we're not necessarily going up to Threshold, but we can talk about this in a little bit.
Yeah, Marcellus, how much do you get for the caravan work?
He's like, it's not bad. 20 round trip plus bonus. And if there's any trouble, of course, we negotiate that after the fact.
We can beat that price.
Marcellus says, why don't you sit down, young man, and, we'll talk, but we need to do this quietly. He's like, oh, yeah. He immediately gets, into game mode.
Right.
He's like, you guys got something else going on? And Tyrus says, well, yeah, we're going to try to go to the caverns.
We're going to Bogley go.
Bogley go. He's like, whoa, wait a minute. He's like, the caverns in the middle of that forbidden zone? Shh. Oh, sorry. You mean the caverns in the middle of that forbidden zone?
That would be it.
He's like, I don't know about that. He's like, I've heard. He's like, I've seen people go there. Not many of them come back. A lot of them come back empty-handed. Some of them don't even stop and don't want to talk about what's gone on there.
We won't be those people.
Make a charisma roll there, Ellen Page.
I tied.
That means you made it.
Okay.
Yeah, that means you made it. He's like, you can beat that price?
Yes, we can.
Significantly, not by 1 crown.
Significantly.
He's like, all right. He pulls his buddy over and says, 1 second. He says, all right, this is Mordecai. Mordecai's just kind of a... he's like a little bit smaller than Marcellus. Seems like just like a capable like sword hand. Just kind of a generic kind of a guy, at least, as he is now. So
this makeup is exactly like our makeup.
Kind of, yeah. It's like you've met your twins.
Mm-hmm.
He just kind of sits down, and Marcellus says, hey, Mordecai.
We just have one rule. The girl is off limits.
Girl? Oh, is that the one you walked in with for? Oh, okay. He's like, is she coming with us?
Yes.
he kind of looks at you, Ellen, and says, or Otto, and says, "Well, I know she's not yours," but he looks at you and says, "Yours?"
Yes.
Fair enough. He says, "Yeah." He puts his hands up as if to say, no problem there. He's like, "Are you just looking to pull some treasure out of those caverns?"
I think my employer has a more specific plan, but we're so worried about the plan at this moment. Now, I'm not.
Tyrus says, "I have a map, not just there, but a partial map of some of these caverns, which maybe some of these folks do not have, which gives us an advantage." Marcellus says, "I think he's kind of smart." All right. He's like, "Let's say I'm intrigued." He's like, "When are you guys leaving?"
After a rest, our horses are watered, and a second meal.
So tomorrow?
I was thinking maybe later tonight. Would that make sense, Tyrus?
Tyrus says, "I'll leave it up to you at this point. We're going to need to provision up, though."
Right.
He says, "Actually, maybe an overnight might not be that bad of an idea."
He would know best because of how much of a lead they have.
Right.
He says, "I really do think we're gonna need to provision up as best we can here, refill everything." He says, we have some long, and dangerous, lands to cross with literally nothing there. So what we find, is not going to be of much use to us. So we have to make sure we are very well provisioned as far as food goes. Marcellus is saying, like, "Okay, is that kind of included in the cost?" And Tyrus says, "Yeah, we'll include the cost of your, food. We'll take care of that." This guy is still staring at you.
Is he stirring a stew?
Yeah,
His hair looks like Tawny Scrawny Lion.
He got the big bowl. Got the big salad.
He's from a glam rock band.
I love the Elric. He just needs to have his tongue out. He's sitting by himself. All right, so Marcellus says, "All right, well, look, we're going to go get our stuff together and everything, just so we're ready. And we realize we're not going to leave tonight, I guess." And Tyrus says, "Let's plan on leaving tomorrow morning."
Absolutely.
He says, "Plus, I think our fair Aurora would appreciate a night in a bed before we really rough it."
Yeah.
Okay. With that, they say, "All right, well, are you going to stay here?" The bartender.
Does Sky say that they have room?
Sky says, "We got some rooms, honey."
Yeah.
So, all right, just maybe you and Aurora, we're going to have to share
3 rooms,
which will be fine. Yeah. They're like, "All right, well, we got a deal." See, you guys do the bro handshake, with the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the grabbing the forearms.
Maybe it's a little more between him and I. It's a little more.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, "We'll settle that whole arm wrestling thing again." He's like, "Sounds like we're gonna have plenty of time." He's like, glad to be on board.
Well, I think we're glad to have you. I'm glad to have you.
Yep. Chat, give me somebody. Give me a base for Marcellus, if you could. And don't be silly about it.
And one for Mordecai.
Yeah, you can do one for Mordecai too. Yeah. Give me a base for him. I'll work on him for next week. So with that, no, not Hulk Hogan, man. So that's a little too over the top.
Wow, that's two.
That's two.
Wow.
See, the thing is, we already sort of have that in my normal campaign with this guy Bavarda, and I can't do that. Marcellus Wallace, Axl Rose, Steve Austin, Patrick Demo. I like Steve Austin for Marcellus.
Axl Rose for Mordecai.
Oh yeah, Yeah, Axl Rose, that'll do too. Jesse Ventura. Actually, that's a good one too. I'll keep Jesse Ventura in the can. Unless I change my mind. I like Steve Austin. Jesse might be a little too much personality for this, but we'll see. All right, I'll have some of these ready.
Are you thinking Conor McGregor, Shirley?
What I could do is I could do Mordecai as Steve Austin and Marcellus as Jesse Ventura.
I wouldn't consider that a big and a little guy, though.
Yeah, that's true. Be like a slightly thinner version of Steve Austin.
Good night, gentlemen.
Good night.
Yep, we're almost done here too. All right, so those guys leave. You guys get your breakfast. Aurora comes back smelling fresh and fine. She kisses you on the cheek. And she says, "Oh, what's been going on?" Tyrus, says, "Well, we have a couple of people joining us." And she says, she looks at you, Rorik, and says, "Are these people we want joining us?"
Yeah, it is. Yeah. We had a good discussion. There's some ground rules.
Yeah. You got to bed the big one.
It's like a prima noct thing, you just gotta go with it.
I'm not gonna sit there with a cage watching you.
There's the chair. Bring a chair with you.
I like Black and Lawless.
Yes.
I like that.
So as you're finishing up, you're kind of talking, and he's giving you a little bit more details, like you're going to have to go through through this forbidden zone and all that, which we'll get into next time. This guy comes over to you, and he says, "Greetings." This would be like one of Sean's characters. Like
yes,
he was playing.
I was thinking of that already.
Inside joke there, but yeah, he comes over and says, "Oh, greetings. May I pull up a chair?"
I tell you what, I'll stand up and offer my name.
Yeah. He says, "I am Gax Mandel the Great."
Huh.
I'll look at Otto.
Forgive me for being impertinent. I couldn't help but overhear. I think you are traveling to the far caverns in the Forbidden Zone. Tyrus says, "Oh, that's correct. I must ask. Have you considered in your journey that you maybe don't have a wizard?" He holds up his finger, and like a little bit of a flame dances on the end of it. He's obviously expecting that to impress you. And it just so happens I'm for hire.
Willem Dafoe.
Ooh, Willem Dafoe.
I really don't know what to say. I'm underwhelmed. Not that I see a lot of magic, but a magician in my mind would be like, something glorious. I've seen people on fire before, but this is underwhelming.
Forgive me. Are you from around here? Because I've never heard of you before.
Well, you've never heard of me. Well, my exploits have been rather private. Truth be told, I've given myself the name Gax Mandel the Great. But
it's funny that everyone says Willem Dafoe. I had Jeff Goldblum.
I'll combine the two. See what monstrosity AI produces. He says, generally I stay up near Threshold, but sometimes I come down here looking for interesting possibilities to expand my knowledge. Maybe I'm just waiting for the right people to make this journey.
What brings you here right now?
Boredom. He looks at you. Pure boredom. I want a little bit of adventure.
I'm a pretty good judge of character.
Saddle up, partner.
I like the cut of your jib.
He says, I can pay my own, I can go on my own, pay my own way. If you'll just allow me to accompany, we'll have a mutual pact of protection. And I presume some sort of an agreement as to the spoils.
I look at our employer.
He says, yeah, well, we're going to leave tomorrow morning. You can be,
You're still alive by
Do you have
if you survive, the night, trust me, that little girl can push a knife in you. He says, yeah, we can talk about it along the way. He says, but please, he's like, no more. We can't afford any more. A little bit of extra muscle is just fine. But we don't want too many people going on. Ricardo Montalban here. Yes. Yeah, that is a glorious mane, as they say. He says, okay, all right, fair enough. He's like, I'll be here tomorrow morning. I will. In fact, I can sense you want to enjoy your stay here, and I'm sure you want to enjoy the libations tonight. I will not interfere. I will simply meet you out front tomorrow morning.
All right, Sean.
So that's my goal. That's
it's working.
That's how, yep.
Pure Stern right there. Pure Stern.
He says,
have you ever smelled the desert rose?
Have you ever smelled the desert rose? All right. So with that, he bows deeply and says, just know you are getting the best.
The great.
The greatest.
That's
Gax Mandel. The great.
Shirley, that's who I thought you were. Maybe you didn't hear me. I said Conor McGregor when you were thinking of that.
Conor McGregor. All right. Tyrus just looks at you guys and raises his eyebrow, and maybe, just maybe, he kind of snickers a little bit after Gax Mandel leaves the room, and Aurora starts chuckling a little bit. And maybe, I don't know. I guess if it were a show or a movie, you'd all have a good laugh over it. Some mandatory fun at Gax Mandel's expense.
Well, our party of 7 now.
That's a lucky number.
Yeah.
Will we all fit in the wagon?
No.
Tyrus says, we'll make everybody fit. He's like, we can tie bags on the side. He's like, we're going to need to get a couple extra horses. He's like, and unfortunately, I don't know how many of them are going to make it, but we'll see. He says, but cheer up, Ben. We're almost ready to do the hard part and the productive part, if you know what I mean. The glorious part.
So this will be the last really good rest for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Last really, really good hearty meal.
Yep.
I look at Aurora and our last good rest.
You ain't getting much rest tonight. All right. Well, tune in next week.
Mm-hmm. Party of 7.
Lucky number. Just saying. It's a lucky number. All right, guys. Take care. We'll let you go. It's late. So we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for tuning in, the 50 of you that have stuck around.
Everybody, thank you
ONR.
so much.
Yeah. Yep. Thanks to everybody who super chatted, gave memberships.
Tremendously generous.
Love ya. We'll talk soon. I'll send you out with something.
Good night, everybody.
Peace. Not that, though.
Back when I was a kid, life was going swell. Till something happened. Blew everything to hell. That night my daddy stumbled in, all pale and weak. Said a woman up the block just gave birth to a geek. Mom said, sell it to the circus. What the heck? Dad said, nope, this one's a pencil neck. In And if there's one thing lower than a sideshow freak, it's a gritty, scum-sucking, pencil-neck geek. You see, if you take a pencil that won't hold lead, looks like a pipe cleaner attached to a head, add a buggy-whip body with a brain that leaks, you got yourself a grit-eating pencil-neck geek. Pencil-neck geek, grit-eating freak, scum-sucking pea-head with a lousy physique. He's a one-man, no-gut, losing streak. Nothing but a pencil-neck geek. Soon the geeks were popping up all over town. You couldn't hardly sneeze without knocking one down. After a nice juicy steak, if you need a toothpick, just reach for a geek. They'll do the trick. One day we cut one up for fish bait. Learned our lesson just a little bit late. Soon as the geek hit the drink, the water turned red. Next day, sure enough, all the fish were dead. Pencil-neck geek, grit-eating freak, scum-sucking pea-head with a lousy physique. He's a one-man, no-gut losing streak. Nothing but a pencil-neck geek. Most any night, you know where I can be found. Yeah, stomping some geek's head into the ground. So keep the faith, cause in Blassie you can trust. I won't give up till the last geek bites the dust. Pencil-neck geek, gritty freak, scum-sucking pea-head with a lousy physique. He's a one-man, no-gut losing streak. Nothing but a pencil-neck geek. They say these geeks come a dime a dozen. I'm looking for the guy who's supplying the dimes. It's gonna be real hard times for all of these grit-eating, scum-sucking, boot-licking, drop-kicking, gut-grinding, nail-biting, glue-sniffing, scab-picking, butt-scratching, egg-hatching, sleazy, smelly, pepper-bellied, dirty, lousy, rotten, stinking freaks. Nothing but a pencil-neck geek. Pencil-neck geek. Pencil-neck geek.